Tes mic 1 2 3 1 2 3. Oke. Hello guys, welcome back with me Fedelish, your online friend. So ya, kemarin atau tadi subuh ada kejadian yang sangat amat bodoh terjadi. Dan jangan kalian harap saya akan langsung lanjut ke tempat kemarin. Jadi saya akan membawa kalian juga main dari awal lagi ya. Asal kemarin bener-bener 3 jam cok. Gak akan saya meluangkan waktu saya sendiri 3 jam buat klik-klik. Akan kuajak kalian menderita bersamaku. Nitip sendal bang. Halo Demon Inside Me, welcome to the stream. Kalian pikir saya seniat itu dan sebaik itu sebagai streamer? Hah? Enggak. Saya akan mengajak kalian menonton ulang lagi ya. Nitip eksistensi sebelum turu. Halo Kak Tana, welcome to the stream. Mau turu? Hah? Kok baru mau turu? Oke. Mau turu gak? Bukannya udah. Oke. Gimik itu, mana ada gimik cok. Anjir, itu kemarin panik aku. No, ini gara-gara load asu ini jadi load ke sini anjir. What the hell? Sebentar. Aku balas temanku dulu. Sebentar ya. Let's go. Welcome ya kalian semua. Kemarin kita jawab ini. Hayo kalian nonton bersamaku. Akan ku klik-klik terus. Sebenarnya dikejar cepet sih klik-klik ini. Kan lama 3 jam karena dibaca ya. Sambil baca-baca live chat juga. Kemarin kita kalau nggak salah sampai di ini. Sampai si guru lagi. Dokter yang bawa shotgun. Lagi baca dokumen. Nah, kemarin sampai situ sih gitu. Kita harus inget ya kemarin tempat yang harus kita sensor. Kita harus inget itu.
Sayaも文則が喜びそうなこと、文則のためだけに頑張るからね。
Ini karena spam klik nih suaranya jadi ngaco nih. Oke, ini kemarin yang sebelum si ini ya. Si Koji ditipu Fuminori. Kena gimmick deh.
住所はこれだ。今まあ多分
sebelum didorong ke sumur ya.
いいさ。
Halo Bang, halo Om For. Welcome to the stream. Sabar ya, kita masih mencari sampai tempat kemarin. Hayya. Ada-ada aja emang. Ding 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 ding, klik 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 klik. Klik terus, klik terus. Pokoknya pas dia naik tangga kita langsung sensor. Ini ada sinanunya, ada. Wah, ini udah hafal nih tempat sensor ya. Kemarin lupa. Nah, sini kita sensor aja deh dari sini. Ya, dari sinilah ya kita sensor lah.
誰ですか？おみちゃんだよね。咲坂くんだよね。おみちゃん。
Jadi kemarin gini ya Gomfor, udah 3 jam main kan, mau end stream 3 jam dari ganti rute, 3 jam dari ganti rute. Kemarin streamnya 4 jam lebih. Nah, udah ganti rute, mau save tuh, malah pencet load game dari 3 jam sebelum end stream ini. Jadi ini kita mau lanjutin cari scene sampainya. Oke, benar, pas penutupannya pas kali ini. Kita ngejar scene dulu ya. Ini kemarin udah. Bang, halo Van, welcome to the stream. Penonton apa kalau gini? Sabar, sabar, sabar. Kita kejar dulu scene-nya. Ini masih banyak yang perlu disensor. Share screen di DC aja, nggak mau.
下が雪道になってなきゃいいがな。近江。そう。
Gue juga mau nonton, nggak peduli saya.
もういや、まるでそんな彼女僕の家に来る途中でいなくなったんだろう。
Kok gitu? Iya dong. Begitu dong. Masa begini?
本当一目。これ写真だと
Jangan lupa minum ya teman-teman ya.
行ってみよう。
Stay hydrated. Nah ini udah aman ini harusnya. Ntar yang udah nggak aman tuh pasti ini. Pas setelah mandi.
Oi.
Ya udah sih kata Van. Ya udah dong. Oke, sini sudah aman.
Hitome ni tsuka nai tokoro dakara koso. どうも、Tono Koji です。
Apa ini kok ada sensor KP? Halo Bro Xka, welcome to the stream.
では。
Ya ada itu Bro Xka.
Koji だ。つくば。つくば。
Ada boing. Ada boing tadi. Infokan mode.
電話中に邪魔して悪かったね。何のつもりだ、貴様。お前、どうして。
せっかく人目につかないと。
ついで
お前そんなに理由が欲しいなら一人で。
文則、おい
Kamu nggak main game ini, Brex
つくばが大変なんだ。おい文則、聞いてくれ。
Kapan-kapan mulu, iya
こ
dong.
こから出してくれ。
Masa sekarang ya kapan-kapan lah. Udah 1 tahun gua di sini, yang bener. Yang bener kamu.
Tadaima.
おかえりふみの。
遅くなってごめんな。準備
Oke, udah agak dekat nih, udah
まだ
agak
内
dekat.
緒。
軽く何か。ああ、そりゃもう殺すのは思った以上にこの夜な。おい、
ああ、で、
工事。
Oke, ini masih aman.
そう。
まあ、さーて、でよふみのり。見てほしいものが目を。
うん。
Oke, di sini sensor mulai lagi. Let's go. Kita gedein lagi.
目を開けちゃだ。
あ
さあ、ご対面。ふみのり、目どう？
綺麗だ。
この子ね。だから
どうして
ねえふみのり、隣
これが本当に
Kanjut
よ。
apaan kanjut?
勉強って
だって私でもね、
喋れないの。
な
Oke.
で
どう？
だってふみのり似たような。
いや、
大丈夫だよ。ほらね、これでもうふみのりが嬉しく
いや、
この子の世話はちゃんと私が一人。
そういうことじゃない。嬉しい。いや、僕がさやの他に別の女の子とそうか。
このふみのりがそれ。
こう言っちゃほら、これってさやのこといいのか。
この子は私とふみのりに可愛がられるたびにそのことを思い出すの。
Oke.
もちろんね。
Udah agak deket nih. Habis ini kan masuk ke ini kan ya? Apa namanya tuh? Ketemu si dokter.
まあ君は
うまくはもしかそれを種ただ頑張そんな
それは
Lagi sek ya bang. So tahu kamu.
あなたの
あ、もちろん。
Ah ya, sini udah aman. Let's go. Kucingnya tadi ketinggalan bang, gak apa-apa. Udah welcome to the stream ya Tako ya?
誰かここだ。
Gak
井戸
jauh-jauh
の
dari
底にい
sini
る
lah.
んだ。
トノ君、ちょっと待ってろ。すぐに助ける。君。
いや、
まあ仕方あるまい。他の誰かを期待したかい？
Semakin hari semakin kecil suaramu, yang benar kamu. Yang benar kamu Tako ya?
飲み込ま。
ありがとうございます。
スピリタスウォッカ。着付け薬によし、消毒によし。電話をよこしたのは行方。
はあ、じゃあつくば
したよ。
あ、
まあ落ち着け。
何かあったと思った。
警察だと。そうか。
どういう意味です？
トノ君。
は？
君、いいところに落ちてくれたよ。
先生、
こ
前にも来た。
私は先に進むが。
一緒に。
まあ好きにしろ。
前にお会い
click,
ここ
click, click,
じゃあ
click,
さあ
click, click,
どうだか
click,
な
click,
なんで
click, click.
あの井戸から降りてきた長
Skip, skip,
外
skip,
その後
skip,
ナイフで
skip,
輪を
skip,
切って井戸の中こう
せ
ああ君は
skip,
先坂
skip,
他に
skip,
出
skip,
口が
skip,
ないとして
skip,
しょ私
そんなもの持ち出して一体
skip,
王外の
skip,
あのと
skip,
そう
skip, skip,
あ
skip,
だその辺をよく
skip
理解して
terus.
余計な口は突っ込まないこといいね
Oke, semakin dekat, semakin
見るんじゃな
dekat.
いいいまずい
はは
劣化の目で記録
Skip, skip,
ここあと水晶球とか鏡取り
お
skip, 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 skip. Nah, di sini sudah kemarin ya, sampai sini. Sabar.
お目覚めか
Ah,
い
dekat-dekat sini. Oke, kita baca dari sini aja lah, nggak apa-apa. She turned a page, then take a bite from the sandwich in her free hand.
食べる元気
If
がある
you
よう
feel
な
up to
そこに
eating, there's food over there. Without looking up from the files, she gestured toward the convenience store bag sitting on the nightstand.
俺を
How
どうやって
did I
ここ
get
に
here? Koji can't imagine that a woman, even a woman like Ryoko, could have climbed out of the well with him on her
あ
back.
の地下室本棚の裏に開かない扉があってね
There was a door behind one of the bookshelf down there. Ryoko muted, taking care not to let the explanation interfere with her reading or eating. Oh, okay. Langsung kayak dingin gitu ya. Cuman masih ya sok-sok cuek gitu.
苦労して破って
When
み
I
たら
finally got it
別荘の
open,
ボイラー
it
室に
led
出
to
た
the boiler room underneath
反
the
対側は
cabin.
薄くモルタルを塗って隠
The
して
other
あった
side
んだ
was hidden with a thin layer of mortar.
な隠し部屋に機材を
I
運び込んで
figured
から
that's
ドアを
how
塞い
he
で
get most of
そ
his
の後は井
supplies
戸から
down
出入
there.
りしていたんだろ
Once he had
周到な
everything
も
he
ん
needed, he could seal it up and use the well instead pretty through.
そこまでして隠さなきゃならないものがあの部屋にあったんですか
Was there really something in there that he needed to
う
hide?
昔はねそれにさっきまでも
There used to be. This is the last of it. Having finished her sandwich, Ryoko picks up some unsorted papers with her free hand and waved them in the
世
air.
界中の研究者が誰もかも学会で演壇に登ってリサイタルをやりたがるわけじゃないの
Not
さ
all scholars want to get on stage at a symposium and show their research to the world, you know.
自分一人が秘密に
Some
通じ
nut
て
cases get their
最
kicks
後には自分のしたいもろとも秘密の墓穴にしまい込んで
and
満
by
足
being
するよう
buried
な
with those secret
そう
and
いう
hidden
変態野郎もいるん
tomes
だよ
that no one will ever find. Koji still hasn't the slightest idea what Ogai's secret might have been. From what Ryoko said in the tunnel, however, he can guess that Fuminori is somehow involved.
文則は
What happened to Fuminori? Oh,
どうなっ
ini
ち
yang
まったんです
kemarin
か
ya, udah sempat kita baca. Koji asks desperately, no longer caring who gets answer from.
地下の死体と文則と一体どういう関係があるん
Who
です
he get answer from.
先生は一体
What
何
does
を追
he
いか
have
けてる
to
んです
do with that body down there? Just what is it that you are after?
今それを調べてるところだよ
That's what I'm trying to find out. Ryoko replies coldly, anjay, sedingin Thomas Lebewe, as though Koji's concern are none of hers.
私が先坂君から聞いたとこ
Sakisaka
ろによ
told
る
me
と
that he
彼
was
は王外
acting
の
on
親族から
behalf
調査を
of
頼まれ
one
ている
of Ogai's
という
relatives.
え
Yes,
それは
he
俺も
told
聞い
me
て
the
ます
same thing.
うん、
Oh,
そうか一
well,
貫してる
at
んだな
least that's consistent. Ryoko pulls several sheets of loose leaf paper from a different file.
だが王外に血
The
縁者はい
truth
ない
is that Ogai
私は
has no
先坂
relative.
君が嘘をついているものとばかり思ったがもう一つの可能性を考え
Ya
る
ini
べき
udah baca.
サヤという名前に
Does the name
心当たりは
Saya ring a bell?
さや
Saya? No. Who is
さ
that?
て誰なのか
Who
なん
or
だ
what is the question?
読めば読むほどわからな
But
く
the
なって
more
きた
I read, the less I understand. She sighed bitterly, then returns her attention to the paper in her
間
hand.
違いなく言えるのはそいつが王外
All
の
I
研
can
究の
say
核
for
にあるも
sure
のら
is
しい
that it
という
appears
こと
to
だ
have been the focus of Ogai's
もし
research.
先坂君がこのサヤと呼ばれるものとすでに深く関わっているのなら 彼はもう引き返せないところ
If
まで踏み
Sakisaka
込
is
んでいる
involved with
ということだ。
whatever Saya is, then he's already past the point of no return. The icy certainty in Ryoko's voice sent a chill down Koji's spine,
だとしたら
blending it in.
どうするつもり
If
なんです
so, then what will
文
you
則
do?
よ
He has to ask, even though he already know the
さっ
answer.
きも言ったよね。1年前の私も手元に銃を持ってればってどれだけ後悔したか知れないんだ。
It's like I said, Ryoko replies, smirking at the tension in Koji's voice. I have no idea how many times I've wished I had killed Ogai when I had the chance.
もう二度と後悔するつもりはない。
I will. Yeah, I would, Harusen. I would kill Ogai. Harusen would for one. I don't care. I won't make the same mistake
俺が
twice.
警察に
If
行け
I
ば済
go
む
to
こ
the
とです
police, it all be over. I knew that, Maren. Ryoko doesn't respond, as though she didn't even hear what Koji just said.
文則がやったことは殺人未遂です
Fuminori tried
俺
to
が
kill
訴え
me.
ればあい
Koji
つは犯罪
continues
者として
persistently. If I report him, he'll be arrested and
目撃者は物証は咲坂君
Ryoko
が
cuts
君を殺す
him
動
off
機は
harshly. You have witnesses. Proof? What was Sakisaka motive?
なあ、トノ君。君は警察の仕事についてひどく
You know,
勘
Tono?
違いしている。
You are completely misunderstanding what the police do.
彼らの職分は正義を貫くことでも、市
Their
民の安
job
全を
isn't
守
to
ることで
fight
も
for
ない。
justice or even to keep people safe.
そんな
What are you
不条
saying?
理な物事について、きちんと条理に沿った体裁を
Finding a
整える。
reasonable explanation for
これが警察
unreasonable
っていう役所の
event.
仕事だ。
That's what the police are for.
彼らの思考はいつだっ
They
て
will
より
always
理
choose
解
to
しやすい
believe
方、
the simplest.
より説明しやすい方に
Most
傾
logical
く。それこそ水が低い方へ低い方へと流れていくように。
Just like how water always flow
事
downhill.
実がどうあろうと彼らには興味ない。
They are
彼ら
not
が感知するところでは
interested.
ないん
They
だよ。
aren't interested in the
小
truth.
説より奇
They
なる
don't
事
know
実
or
なんて
care
ものは
that the truth is often stranger than fiction.
そこまで決めつけることないでしょ
They can't
話して
all
みな
be
ければ
like
分かり
that.
ませんよ
I won't know until I try.
わからない。
Exactly. Ryoko states
そこが
as
問
she
題だ。
pulls another sandwich out of the bag. That's the problem. She hasn't spared Koji a second glance since looking at him earlier. Even while talking, her attention is always focused on the paper in front of
君
her.
が錯乱した親友の手で井戸に落とされたと主張
Let's
す
say
る。
you accuse your friend of pushing you into a well.
すると警察はあと2つばかり真実の候補を用意するだろう。
In
君が
addition to
狂
your
言自殺で
statement,
親
the
友を
police
陥
will
れようと
consider
している
two
とか。
alternate versions of the truth. Maybe you're making it all up. Making it all up to frame your friend.
あるいはもっとシンプルに事故で井戸に落ちた君が
Or even
錯乱して
simpler,
親友を
It
疑っ
was
て
an
ると
accident.
か。
You fell into the well by yourself, and the shock has made you paranoid or
こ
delusional.
の3案のどれかが操作っていうレースで勝ちを競うわけだ。
These three possibilities
勝ち馬
will
は誰にもわ
compete
からない
to。see which come out with the most convincing evidence. Fat, suara lu kekecilan kayaknya. Oh iya kah? Tes. Masa masih dekat banget sih? Tes. Bisa kecil itu kah? Tes. Ini udah gak bener-bener gak jaraknya gak jauh ini mic. Jaraknya 3 jari lah. Gak nyampe 3 jari mah, 2 jari. Dari OBS-nya kamu gedein. Udah aku gedein desibel ya. Masa mau aku tambahin lagi? Sabar. Tes. Tes, 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 tes. Ini aku tambahin 4 desibel. Udah oke kan ya? Apa belum? These three possibilities will compete to see which come out with the most convincing evidence. No one knows which will be the winner.
こんな博打に
Are you
君は
willing
死
to
んだら
bet
潰すま
everything
で
you
かける
have
気
on
か
your truth? Koji has no response. Can he really explain with cold, clear logic what drove Fuminori to do what he did? How can he convince anyone else when he doesn't even understand? Emang sekecil itu ya? Sabar, aku tes deh pakai HP aku. Di HP ku udah kenceng kok. Di HP ku udah kenceng, di settingan OBS ku udah kayak yang biasa barnya. Di HP ku kenceng kok. Tes, 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 tes. Coba mundurin. Iya, yang 2 menit yang lalu lumayan lah. Tapi nggak kecil-kecil amat. Volume HP-mu berapa dulu? Nggak nyampe ini kok, nggak nyampe 70%. Yang ini udah oke kok yang sekarang. Can he really explain with cold, clear logic what drove Fuminori to do what he did? How can he convince anyone else when he doesn't even understand it himself?
そして
And here's the biggest problem. Ryoko says calmly, cutting into Koji's thought.
君がそういう
While
乱
you're
畜騒ぎ
raising
に手
hell
こずっ
with
てい
the
る隙に
police, we'll lose our
先坂
chance to
文則を
corner
追い詰めるチャン
Sakisaka.
スを逃すことだよ。身辺で火の手
If
が
he
上がれば
sees trouble
彼は手
coming,
遅れにな
he'll
る前
go
にさっ
into
さと
hiding.
姿をくらますだろう。
And then
So, ya,
we'll be
tengok
right
kebanjang
back at
berdasar
square
modul.
one. Tes sih lumayan suaranya. Pas udah baca teks lagi, udah berkurang lagi volumemu. Emang masih sampai sekarang? She paused to take a bite of her sandwich before finishing.
私がオーナー
Just
を
like when I
取り逃
let
したように
Ogai get away. A heavy silence fall upon them, with only the soft rustle of pages turning in Ryoko's hand to mark the passage of time.
教えてくださいよ
Please
先生
tell me, doctor. Cara nggak sadar mundur dari mic kayaknya, hah? Aku micku dipakai headset ini, nggak mungkin mundur dari mic. Kan nempel terus di telinga. Makanya enaknya mic pakai headset tuh ya udah, micnya kau mau maju mundur, pala kau kan micnya ngikut. Please tell me, doctor. Koji says, his harsh voice breaking through the quiet.
あなたが警察を差し置いてまで処刑しようなんて
What
思うほど
crime is he
そこまで
unforgivable?
許しがたいことって何なんです
So how saya No Uta so far? Bagus?
あの地下室で何をやってたんですか
Dan ternyata nggak sependek yang aku kira. Pas kau bilang pendek, aku kira pendek banget. Kayak 2 jam, 3 jam kelar gitu. What crime is so unforgivable that you are determined to take justice into your own hand? What exactly did Ogai do in that room down there? Once again, Ryoko ignores Koji's question. This time, however, Koji doesn't back down. His silent glare demands her attention as she pours through the document before her. After some time, Ryoko rearranged the paper in her hand and set them aside, as though having come to some conclusion. She then turns her chair to face Kan udah dibilang kalau main sendiri baca dalam hati itu pasti 2 sampai 3 kali lebih cepat daripada dibacain secara verbal. Ya masa kalau aku baca dalam hati kalian nonton apa? Nonton slideshow. She then turns her chair to face Koji for the first time since he woke.
Na,
Listen,
Tono-kun.
Tono. Her heart stare, believes the calmness of her voice.
君はここいら辺で降りた方
You
がいい。
need to get out of this
ナス
while
カ
you
日
still
光
can.
の温泉でゆっくり
There are
羽
a
を伸
lot
ば
of
して
fine hot spring
何も
around
かも
here.
忘れる気になって
Go
から
relax
東
and
京に
don't
戻ってき
return
な
to
さい。
Tokyo until you're ready to forget any of this ever happened. Anjir, disuruh jangan balik ke Tokyo dulu.
忘れろ。
Forget? Koji feels anger rise within him.
近江は俺の恋人でした。
Omi was my
み
girlfriend.
のりは俺の親友でした。
Fuminori was my best
それ
friend.
を忘れろと。
And you're telling me to forget about them?
そうだ、忘れろ。これは提案じゃない。警告だ。
Gue bilang waktu itu gamenya cepet ya karena nggak dibaca secara verbal. Gimana? Gimmick bikin orang kesel gue udah makin meningkat kan? Yeah, forget about them. Ryoko replies, coolly rebuffing Koji's anger. This isn't a suggestion. It's a warning. Anjay.
今まではどうであれ
Whatever they were to
これ
you,
からの君の
that's
人生
all
に
over
その
now.
二人は一切
You'll
関
never
わりを
see
持
them
たないだ
again.
ろう。
I guarantee.
断言してもいい。
I guarantee it.
じゃあ筑波は。
Then what about Tsukuba? Koji shout, unable to control himself.
彼女はどうなる。あの子は電話口で俺に助けを求めてた。
She begged me
どこ
for
かでひど
help
い目
on
に
the
遭わさ
phone.
れてたんだ。
Something terrible was happening to her.
そりゃ何十時間前の話かね。
And how many hours ago was that?
私が君を助けてから何時間経ったと思う。
Do you know how much time
そ
has
うでなけれ
passed
ば。
since I
井
saved
戸の
you?
中の君
How
が
much longer
あと何
do
時
you
間持った
think
と
you
思
would
う。
have lost down there if I hadn't? She
遅す
shakes
ぎる。
her head,
彼
then
女は
declares
とっくに死んで
coldly,
るだろう。
It's too late. She's
誰もが
already
君ほど
dead.
幸運だなんて思
Don't
わない
expect
方がいい。
everyone to be as lucky as you.
あんたは。
You heartless, Koji growls, unable to suppress his anger.
あの井戸で俺の死体を見
Tapi
つけ
nggak
た
ada growlsnya di sini.
あんた。なんと
If
も思わ
you
なかったんだろう
had
な。
found me dead in that well, you wouldn't have thought anything of it, would you?
そりゃ覚悟してたからね。
I was prepared for that, of
まさか生
course.
きてるとは思わなかったよ。
Ryoko says with a shrug, unfazed by Koji's ire. I hardly expected to find you alive. Malah kaget dia. Loh, kok masih hidup gitu? It is futile to argue with this woman. Koji realized her values are fundamentally different from his own. Nothing he can say will ever move her. Koji gets out of bed and stand on shaky legs.
どのくらい
How long have
俺は
I been
ざっと
asleep?
半日ばかり。
About half a day. I envy
そう
your
した後
ability to
速やかに
recover
休
so
息が
quickly.
取れるってのは羨ましいね。
It's a privilege of yacht,
若いうちだけ
so
だよ。
enjoy it
そ
while
う
it
いう無茶が
lasts.
効くのは。
Koji looks at his watch and see that it's 4 in the morning, which means that it was already evening when Ryoko rescued him. He can't believe that he survived in that well for almost 2 days. 2 days. Now, the gaps in his memory have been filled and his sense of time has returned. He realized that it's already Sunday morning. Ryoko's right. A lot of time has passed since he spoke to Yo on the phone. Koji grabs a sport drink and 2 jelly packs from the bag of food that Ryoko brought, then heads for the door. His legs are still a little unsteady, but he can compensate for that with sheer willpower.
念のため聞かせてもらうが、
Just to make sure,
どこに
mind
行くつもり
telling
だ？
me where you're going.
東京へ。
Tokyo ga na. Koji replies brusquely, his tone as hard as her.
筑波陽はまだ間に合うかもしれない。 彼女
Tsukuba
を助けに
might
行きます
still be alive. I'm going to save
人
her.
の話を聞かない
You
やつ
just
だね
don't
君は
listen, do you?
聞く耳持たないのはお互い様で
I
しょう
could say the same about you. Koji is expecting Ryoko to watch him go with that cold, mocking smile of hers. Instead, however, she sighed heavily and rests her jaw in her hand.
もう少し待つ気はないか
Can't you wait a little longer?
こいつの
Somewhere
ど
in
こかに
here, she thrusts her chin at the mountain of paper in front of her.
王外がサヤと名付けたものが何だったのか
Is the
答えが隠
answer
されて
to
るはず
what
だ
this thing called Saya is?
そいつを突
I
き止めて
think you
ちゃん
should
と対
wait
策
until
を
I
講じて
figure
から
out
動くべきだと
until
私
I
は思う
figured that out and come up with a plan to deal with it.
つくばが死んでると決めて
You
かかっ
would
てるあん
think
た
that
だ
since you are
当然そう思う
you are
でしょうね
already convinced that Tsukuba is dead. In truth, Koji is extremely uneasy about going it alone. At the same time, however, he knows that he mustn't depend on Ryoko. She made it clear that she doesn't care about saving life. Teaming with her will only make it more difficult to salvage anything out of this nightmare. Game apa? Halo Kazuki, welcome to the stream. Ini game visual novel, judulnya Saya No Uta atau The Song of Saya. Atau kalau kata Bro Wipiu itu bahasa Indonesianya lagunya saya.
Tono kun
Tono. Ryoko calls just before Koji step out the door.
仮にも一度は
You
殺さ
almost
れかか
got
ってる
killed
が
once already.
もう二度と殺さ
Don't
れる
let
な
it happen again. Benar juga. She picks something up from the table and toss it to Koji. Oh, shotgun ya kah? When Koji catch it, he feels its solid weight fill his hand. Oh, dikasih revolver. This is Koji stare at the menacing shape of cold metal. It's a revolver, the same one that was clenched in Ogai's skeletal fist.
あと4発入ってる
It has four more shots.
引き金を
there's
引く
no
だけで弾が出る
So just pull the trigger to fire.
どこでどう使うかは君の
How
判
you
断に
use
任
it
せるよ
is up to you. If Koji were his usual cautious self, he would not hesitate to reject the dangerous offering. The only time you truly need a gun is when all hope is lost. He would prefer not to fight a losing war. And yet, without even knowing it, Koji has already set foot in Ryoko's world, choosing instinct over reason. He snapped the small but deadly weapon and stuffed it into his pocket. Okay, diambil ya, terus ditaruh di ininya saku. There's no question that Koji intend to save Yo and bring Fuminori to answer for his crime. Kapan ketemu Loli? Udah dari kemarin. In the back of his mind, however, he can hear the footstep of a ruin approaching. When he stepped out of the cabin's front door, Koji shivered as the wind tears into his skin. To his surprise, the outside air is even colder than the mud at the bottom of the well. Perhaps the cramped space mitigate the cold somewhat. If he hadn't exposed to this chill all night long, he would surely have frozen to death. Koji finds two cars parked in the yard. The smaller car next to his must be Ryoko's. When he sits behind the wheel of his car, kok wheelchair anjir, he gets some relief from the feeling that he has taken the first step, however small, back into his world. He sipped the sport drink, wetting his parched throat, then washed down some jelly. His stomach rebels at the sudden influx of food after 36 hours on empty, but he managed to force down the urge to vomit. Koji needs the energy. No matter how hard it is, he must regain enough stamina to overcome the challenge ahead. After forcing down as much food as he can handle, Koji leans back in his seat and takes a short break. Then he begins to feel like himself again. He reaches into the back seat and pulls his spare cell phone out of his bag. He not expected that carrying two phones would be such a stroke of luck. As he calls up Fuminori's number and prepares to hit send, Koji is overcome by a flood of emotion. Rage, despair, sorrow, pity. He's unable to decide what to feel toward his friend. However, there's no time to dwell on his past. Every second lost diminish the chance of saving Omi and you. Oh, semakin ini ya. Koji refused to consider that it may already be too late. Okay, masih nggak terima fakta dia. He stills himself and press the button, then hold the phone to his ear as it rings. The shrill sound seems to go on for longer than it ever has in his life. Right now, Fuminori's number must be displaying the name of the caller. Koji wonder what his reaction will be when he sees it. The call goes through. Oh, diangkat, cok. In the silence on the other end of the phone, Koji sends surprise, apprehension, and dark fury. Feeling slightly gratified, Koji delivered the first jab.
Yo, そんなに意外
What?
か
Weren't expecting a call from a dead man? From a dead man? Siapa dead man?
驚いたね。
I'm surprised. How did you manage it? Koji is about to answer, an idea suddenly comes to
井
him.
戸の底に仕掛けがあったのさ
There was a secret passage
地
in
下
the
の
well,
隠し
Koji
部屋に
says.
行くためのな
A plan forming rapidly in his mind. It led to a hidden underground lab. He paused to let that sink in. Then with satisfaction, filling his voice, he says,
会えたぜ
I met
Oh my
Ogai Masahiko. Kok nggak lanjut? Fuminori gasp tells Koji that the advantage is his. Keeping his voice pulled, he decided to further exaggerate the truth.
何もかも分かった
I know it all,
サ
everything
ヤっ
about
てやつの
Saya.
ことも全部
You're finished, Fuminori.
お前たち何もかもバラ
I've
してや
got
る
all the proof I
ところ
need
構わ
to
ずにぶち
blow
まけてや
this
る
thing wide
証拠はちゃん
open.
と揃ってるからな
You won't even see it coming.
貴様は
You son of a bitch. It's obviously that Fuminori's tone that rage has overwhelmed his reason. Koji's bluff is working perfectly. Aku ke toilet bentar ya. Ke toilet bentar deh. Sebentar ya. Ke toilet bentar. Okay, back. Let's go. His victory is tainted, however, as Fuminori responds the name Saya bring a cry of anguish from the corner of his heart that still want to believe his friend can be saved. Huh? If Sakisaka is involved with whatever Saya is, Ryoko words play back in his head, sounding even colder than before. Then he's already past the point of no return. He mustn't allow mention to sway him.
海のり近江と筑波はどこだ
Where are Omi and Yo? Koji suddenly switched topic, trying to keep Fuminori off balance. It all comes down to
俺にだっ
this.
て情けはあるお前の出方次第
Depending
を
on your
考え
answer,
んだ
I might be willing to cut you a deal.
お前がこれ以上誰も傷つけないというのなら俺にしたことは忘れてやるこの別荘で見つけたことも
If you swear not to cause any more harm, I'll forget about what you did to me and about what I found
俺
at
だ
the
ってこれ以
cabin.
上お前とせやに関わり合いを持つのは願い下げなんだ
I don't want
Omi to say
anything
無事に
more
戻ればいい。
to do with you and Saya anyway. All I want is for Omi and Yo to be safe.
海とようね
Omi and Yo? Fuminori's voice trailed off. He obviously trying to decide how far Koji can be trusted and whether there's room for negotiation. Fuminori has been called out. And now it's time for him to show his hand.
海のことは本当に知らない彼女は僕
Honestly,
の家まで来ていない
I honestly don't know about anything about Omi. She never came by my house. Yo, on the other hand, Fuminori paused, then gave a knowing chuckle that sent chills up Koji's spine.
どうだかな
Well, I wonder if she will really want to leave.
お前のところにいるんだな
She's with you, isn't she? Koji is relieved to learn Yo's location, and that she is at least still alive. Dia nggak tahu dalam wujud apa alive. At the same time, however, he remembered that horrifying phone call. It clears now that Fuminori played some part in Yo's suffering. Had she already fallen into his trap back then? What was happened to her? How is she being
彼
treated?
女はね念願かなってようやく僕の持ち物になったんだよ
Her wish
お前と近江のお膳立て
has
も
finally come true, Fuminori says with venomous sarcasm. She's my property now, I guess. You and Omi got what you wanted after all. Koji feel despair settle over his soul. How much lower will this man go? Must Fuminori seek out and destroy every memory of their friendship they once shared?
筑波を解放しろ
Let Tsukuba
彼女の
go.
安全を確認し
When
た
I'm sure she is safe,
お前らに
I'll
ついての証拠
destroy
を破棄して
everything I have everything I have on you and
信用
Saya.
できるかそっちが先に
How can I trust you? First, I want
お
you
前に
to.
選択の余地を与えるつも
I'm
りは
not
な
giving
い
you a choice here, Fuminori. Koji instinctively realized that it's dangerous to push his bluff any further.
後でまた連絡するそれまでによく考えて
I'll
おけ
call again later. You have until then to make up your mind. He hangs up without waiting for a response. Fuminori doesn't know that Koji is still at the cabin in Tochigi. Right now, he's probably worrying about whether Koji will show up in 1 hour or 1 minute. Koji hopes that he will be able to take advantage of Fuminori's confusion. 3 hours. That's how long it will take to race all the way back to Tokyo. Anjir, ngebut ya dia. Gas, gas, gas. Koji is afraid that his body won't carry him through such a long drive. His mind is clear, but his limbs still feel half asleep, like they're weighed down with lead. Although he knows that he has to stay resolute, Koji still longs for the peace he had just a few days ago. when life or death struggle were the furthest thing from his mind. Benar. Back then, he could never have imagined himself fighting to rescue a friend from the clutches of a madman. With each passing moment, he felt himself becoming less like the person he was. When all of this over, will he be able to return to his old life? Or will this change continue until it has consumed him yearly? Time is against him. Every second that passes is wasted. Even so, he decides to allow himself just 5 minutes of weakness. For exactly 5 minutes, he leans against the steering wheels and cries. Nangis ya si ini Koji. And when his tears have run dry and his heart is calm, Koji start up his car and drive away. 5 menit ya dia nangis. I stare at the silent phone in my hand. There's anger, of course, but something cold and heavy hold my emotion in check. The sense of danger. To be honest, I'm surprised at how calm I am. Master,
主人
Yo looks up at me apprehensively. Hah? Dia manggil Fuminori Master. The fuck? Dia manggil Fuminori Master. Nani? Jadi budaknya. Her head between my thighs. She was attending to me throughout the call. The remaining fragment of her memories seemed to have joined together as she has regained some degree of speech. Upon realizing this last night, Saya began to teach her language once more. I assume she finds our pet's effort amusing.
怒らないで
Don't be mad. Yo will try harder. The pleasure from her ministration threatens to impede my thought, and besides, my arousal has already vanished. At first, I consider making her stop. When I gaze into her puppy dog eyes, however, I begin to think differently. Thanks to Saya, I have a family once again. For the first time, I am becoming aware of the responsibility that plays on me. Aroused. Begituan kau cepet ya Demon Inside Me ya. And I am now the head of a new Sakisaka household, as well as its only male member. It is my duty to protect, comfort, and ensure the happiness of the woman living under my roof. With that in mind, I know that I mustn't show fear or confusion. That will only cause them distress.
続けろよ。
Continue. Yes, master. I entrust myself to your eager touch. Okay. Basking in the pleasure with one part of my mind, while contemplating our current predicament with the other. It is clear that I made a grave error when I failed to finish Koji off 2 days ago. Right now, I need to set my frustration and anger aside and deal with this problem logically. Kan demen hamba ini, waduh. It's time to leave. I have no way of knowing when Koji escaped from well, or how much he has learned, or how many people he has had contact with since then. Now that it is impossible to know how far the problem has spread, merely disposing of Koji won't guarantee our safety. When the enemy has poisoned your water supply, you can't take the risk that even one drop might remain. Your only choice is to stop drinking the water. Okay,
え文則
Fuminori, who were you talking to? Saya returned from the kitchen, where she had gone in search of a midnight snack. She's munching on her favorite, spare ribs. Favorite nya. Purging myself of unease and impatience, I respond with a casual shrug.
ちょっと厄介なことになりそうだ。
It looks like we have a little problem. That bastard Koji is still alive.
あらま
Alama. Kok kedengarannya kayak alama. Oh dear. By breaking the news suddenly and without any trace of anxiety, I am able to avoid frightening Saya. Instead, she's merely surprised. I knew that remaining calm would work. Moreover, I'm currently being pleasured by y'all. Anjir, currently being pleasure. Kesukaanmu nih, demon inside me. It will be hard for anyone to get too serious under these circumstances.
なあ、さや。
Saya,
僕たち、
it might be
この
best
家を
if
引
we
き払
leave
った
this
方がいい
house.
かもな。
そうか
Saya lowers her eyes and strokes her chin thoughtfully.
まあ、どっ
This
ちみ
was
ち鈴
bound
見さんの一家が消えたの
to
がバレれ
happen
ば、
sooner or later.
この近辺も
Even
騒
without
がしくなって
Koji,
ただろ
it's
うし、
only a matter of time
遅
before
くないか
someone
で
reported
こういう
Suzumi
日が来
family
て
is
たと思
missing.
うよ。
うん
Yeah, Saya nods. I can tell that she is reluctant to leave, but at least there's no sadness in her expression. Everything will be fine. I will protect my life with Saya just as I have up until now. I have that power. Oh, pede deh, pede. Knowing that we've overcome one problem fills me with new confidence. Knowing that we've overcome one problem fills me with new confidence.
大丈夫。
Okay? Now then,
安心していいよ。
we will better get ready. Jaksel banget saya no. Jaksel mah nggak pakai saya, Bro Wipiu, pakai I. Kamu gimana sih, Bro Wipiu? You gimana sih, Bro Wipiu? Ih, masa gitu aja nggak tahu you? Okay, katanya. We can travel light and take the Suzumi family car. I'll better withdraw everything that's left in my bank account and carry it as cash. Loh, aku kan anak Bansos, Bandung Sosialita. Anjir, ada sebutannya ya, ada sebutannya. I'll also need a weapon, something more reliable than a butcher's knife. Koji will most likely follow. He thinks that Yo can still be safe. However, I'm not abandoning this house just to run away. As long as Koji know our location, we are stuck on the defensive. Living give me the chance to regain the initiative and deal with him at a place of my choosing. The next time we meet, I'll kill him with my own two hands. I'll make sure to wring every last drop of life out of his body. A shivers run through me as I anticipate the battle ahead, and my bloodlust burn like orgasmic fire. Okay. But when Ryoko looks up, the morning sun is already streaming in through the window. Tired from hours of poring over files, she removed her glasses and massaged her aching eyes. Her dreams are always filled with horror, yet the night she just spent was more nightmarish than the mall. And it's not over yet. She has only just set foot on the threshold. As expected, the files left by Ogai Masahiko were not the sort that Ryoko could simply pick up and read. Fortunately, Ogai had been too old-fashioned to put his trust in electronic media. If he had encrypted his file on a computer, she would have had to find a hacker to decipher them. In fact, he had not employed any kind of code in his writing that would have been too time consuming by hand. The method of obfuscation he did use was quite simple. Wah, banyak kosong ya? Kalau di Bandung pakainya apa emang ya Bro Wipiu kalau Bandung Sosialita? Kalau Jackson kan gitu. Gitu kan. You gimana sih you gitu kan. Of the files Ryoko pulled from his underground lab, the majority turned out to be notes, and these from Ogai's days as a student. Oh, Ogai dulu pas masih dia jadi murid ya. The important papers were the diaries and research note. Maneh aing sia gitu-gitulah. Oh. Research notes that had been scattered throughout the piles of worthless crap. At first, she was unable to understand the document that she had found. Its sheet has covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Aku juga mau, maksudnya? Apa sih kucing biru? Maksudmu apa? Maksud. By the way, welcome to the stream ya, kucing biru ya? Sorry, habis minum. Tadi udah sampai mana? Oh, each sheet was covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Each line is completely unrelated to the next, making it impossible to glean any meaning from the whole. Gak ada maksud nih, gak jelas. Gimana game ya yang tadi komen? The trick revealed itself, however, while she was sorting the pages that made no sense. She found that each line continued on the same line of a different page. In Ogai's diary, for example, the first day began on the first line, then continued not with the next line, but with the first line on the next page. Ribet ya? Similarly, the second day was the second line, the third day was the third line, and so on and so forth. After filling the lines, oh jadi dia emang menyamping gini ya? Okay. Ogai had torn them out and scattered them among his other files. There was no regularity to how the pages were numbered, of course, unable to locate any sort of key or legend. Ryoko had no choice but to figure out the page order manually. Belum kerasa friendshipnya. Friendship si dua toko itu. Despite knowing that the task will be exhausting, Ryoko set to it valiantly. After separating all of the loose leaf sheets from the jumble file, she began the painstaking process of linking pages together according to the contents of their first line. She found that Ogai has dismantled and scattered his diary each time he completed a number of days equal to the lines on one page, and had done the same with his research notes every 30 pages or so. Hah? Wah, pokoknya nih si Ogai orangnya sangat amat gak bakal bisa dilacak ya. The diary was much easier to restore because the entries vary in length. Later pages had a larger number of blank lines. The page with only one line, therefore, was the last page of the diary, and those with the most blank spaces could be considered closer to the end. Sumpah ribet nih Ogai. Ogai ribet banget. Ryoko Perseverance. Bang, lepas mod aku nggak mau. By the way, welcome to the stream, Figo. Has paid off, for she has already succeeded in restoring several volumes of Ogai's diary. As she reads them, she feels despair draining her spirit, as it has so many times before. This cursed feeling of powerlessness that comes with knowing hidden truth. Those who have tasted once shall be beaten down by it again and again, until the day they die. All secrets are connected, after all. Once you have glimpsed even the tiniest fraction of the world's true face, you have no choice but to watch in horror as the veil rolls itself back inch by inch. All that remains is to wait for the day when insanity will crush your reason under its ever mounting weight. I'll have succeeded in communicating with the organism. It shows enormous curiosity, and its intelligence is beyond doubt. See research notes for confirmed vocal pattern and body language. Hah? Research notes bisa ngasih tau body language? Okay. Its appetite for knowledge is insatiable, and its learning speed is off the chart. However, it exhibits absolutely no desire to be recognized as an individual. Its ego appears to be quite weak, suggesting a psyche wholly unlike that of a human. The speed of the organism's linguistic development is astounding. When I laugh at its mispronunciation, it immediately picks up the concept of puns. Ever since, it has been employing its entire vocabulary in an attempt to find puns that will make me laugh. Perhaps in a few days' time, it will have learned enough language for us to communicate freely. The organism's command of spoken language is now sufficient to facilitate higher level discourse. But although it has regaled me with questions all day, it remains unable to answer any of mine. It replies suggests that it gained awareness only after materializing in this universe. It has no knowledge of where it came from. While I'm disappointed, the fact that it has reached this level of intelligence only 1 week after starting to think tells me that there's no end to what I can learn from it. Hypothesis: it is not a naturally occurring organism, but was created by an even more sophisticated sentient life form. Okay, this will explain why it has no ego, yet possess such a hunger for knowledge. It might be some sort of reconnaissance drone that was sent here from another world. Oh, ini masih ngebahas saya ya berarti overallnya. Ryoko smiles humorlessly for the umpteenth time since she started reading. How wonderful it would be if she could laugh the diary off as the delusion of a madman or the work of a science fiction author. Alas, she knows far too much. When she thinks back to the many horror that Ogai brought into her life, the words before her take on chilling credibility. Oh, berarti ini si siapa? Si dokter yang cewek ini udah pernah nemuin creature yang diciptain sama si Ogai. I have confirmed that the organism's brain power far surpasses any humans. This morning, I thought it about prime number. After I explained the Lucas Lambert task for Mersenne primes, it immediately began to list examples that it had calculated in its head. I was only able to confirm by memory up to number 10, M89, but it continued to list further examples without any trouble. I left it to its calculation, and when I returned a few hours later, I discovered that it had written down more than 70 of them. Computers all over the world are currently working to calculate Mersenne primes. That last one I remember being found was the 39th back in 2001. When I entered several of the results into my laptop and ran the Lucas Lambert test on them, I found that everyone was correct. The same is no doubt true of the rest. After all, the organism has never shown the pathological need for respect. For respect that will lead it to lie about its accomplishment. Oke, berarti creature ini gak bakal berbohong. I see no reason to doubt its veracity. If I could reveal to the world an expedient method of discovering Mersenne primes, the prize money would make me a billionaire. Of course, my current research is worth far more than any sum of money. I must keep it secret. The organism's computational speed exceed that of even the most powerful supercomputer. Ooh. I can only conclude that its cognitive faculties are beyond anything humanity can imagine. At the organism request, we have begun a new field of study. Despite its immeasurable aptitude for mathematics, it now desires to concentrate on sociology and the natural science. Perhaps our math problems are simply too elementary for it. It has shown especially keen interest in the means by which organisms reproduce and multiply, as it possesses nothing that could be called emotion. I hesitate to use this description, but when it learned about DNA, it seems somehow excited. In fact, the organism itself seemed surprised by its reaction. When asked about the nature of the impulse, the organism decided to label it instinct. If this description is indeed accurate, then this is an extremely significant development. It will mean that there is a deeper level to its psyche than just the knowledge it has acquired since coming to this world. If I can use this discovery to trace its roots, I might be able to learn what it truly is. Halo Bang, halo Bro Regas, welcome to the stream. Note, candidates for the plane and world of organisms' origin are discussed in my writing on the silver key. File separately. I spent the whole day carrying books into its room. Apparently, the organism is no longer satisfied by the knowledge I am able to impart. It should come as no surprise considering its linguistic prowess. But the speed at which it consumes text is astounding. Ini kayaknya udah mau bau-bau ending gak? Si Bro Wipiu kayak sejam lagi atau 40 menit 30 menit lagi. The diary continues for some time, chronicling the intimate relationship between Ogai and organism. In the back of her mind, Ryoko imagined the old doctor climbing down the well in the middle of the night to hold congress with some inhuman creature in that bizarre laboratory. The image is disturbingly similar to the nightmare that have shattered the silence of many nights with her scream. Who scream? Ini screamnya siapa nih? Her nih. Kan Ogai cowok. What follows, however, makes even her worst nightmare pale in comparison. Mungkin ini kali, si dokter cewek ini kali. The organism has made a very strange request. This is the first time it had asked for anything other than food and reading materials. I can hardly believe it, but it wants to consume the sperm of living creature. Iya, ini ngomongin saya nih, toko si creature-nya. This is separate from its desire for food. Once again, it is describing this impulse as instinctive. Now that it has declared itself a life form that requires the seed of male, it has begun to identify itself as female. After today, I suppose I shall have to start calling the organism as she. Is the personality that she has begun to exhibit really just an imitation created for her amusement? Ever since she started to immerse herself in our literature, she has been acting astonishingly human. She identifies herself as female and already possesses an enormous store of cultural knowledge. Is she trying to create a human identity for herself based on this? I have seen her laugh, grow angry, and today she cried. Is she just copying our emotion display? If not, then she is already. Is the soul something that any intelligent life form can acquire? I feel that I'm witnessing something more mysterious than the genesis of life itself. Today's her birthday. Anjir, kok bisa tahu birthday? Although it is a years late, I want to give her a special gift. Saya was the name of my mother's cat. In childhood, she was my sole friend and my beloved. I decided long ago if I were ever blessed with children, I will give this name to my daughter. Happy birthday, Saya. Let this be the name of your soul. You have earned it. The ability that Saya has discovered in herself is showing more extraordinary result each day. I have no doubt that she is kind of artist. What exactly is it that she created in her body from the rat's semen? I gave her. At this point, I can only surmise that it is a type retrovirus, a reverse transcriptase enzyme that creates exactly what she desired. The rats that have been transformed by her art are so very beautiful now. The many enzymes secreted ini kayaknya secrecy by her body and the various appendages she used are discussed in detail in my biological observation file separately. Here I will say this: by witnessing Saya perform her operations on several rats, I have gained much confidence in my theory that her body is designed specifically to manipulating the biology of other organisms. Ryoko looks grimly at the still unsorted mountain of research notes. When she finally managed to separate those papers, she will probably find the many other files mentioned in their diary. in the diary. Ogai's biological observation at the very least. She want to look through those before facing the thing called Saya. People happy. Hello, Kermi. Welcome to the stream. Hey, Kermi. Why don't you stream? Today, I mean today. Why don't you stream today? Under no circumstances does she want to go into battle unprepared. She looks at her watch and sees that it's already 7 in the morning, assuming Tonokoji made no stop. He should be arriving in Tokyo about now. I have a day off today. I'll stream tomorrow. Okay, what will you stream? Now that it's too late, she wishes she had stopped that stubborn fool from leaving. Even if she had to shoot him in the leg to do it. Koji pulls up 2 blocks away from the Sakisaka house and stares at the silent building. In the bright light of morning, the house seems shrouded in a dark miasma, like a black hole, torn out of the landscape. Is it just a figment of Koji's imagination? Every window is closed, offering no glimpse of the inside. Koji has no way of knowing whether Fuminori is home. A pedestrian walks his dog down the street, glancing at Koji through the windshield after he passes by. Koji isn't surprised by attention. He hasn't bathed or changed clothes since spending the night buried in the mud. So he must look like a vagrant even inside the car. Even inside his car. Maybe I'll finish off Yippee Psycho and I'll play Potion Permit. Oh, you bought it? Point permit. What is point permit? When he looked into a rear view mirror, he sees the haggard visage. Waduh, ada visage nih, cing biru. Ada visage. Nah, itu tandanya kamu harus main visage. Of a man with one foot in the grave, staring back at him. It's hard to believe that the tired, unshaven face is really his. Hana gave me a key for the new year. Oh, that's nice. Point permit. Is it same like potion permit? What is point permit? Let me check. Let me check it out. Point permit. What's that? Okay. Hey? I got the name wrong. Oh, you mean potion permit? Yeah, I thought it's a different game. That's why I was asking. He drives slowly up to the front of Fuminori's house, quickly checks to make sure no one is around, and gets out of the car. Anyone who might be in the house probably heard the sound of the engine, but there's no point in worrying about that now. Feel strong, man. Koji walks swiftly through the gate and yard to the front door. He put his hand on the door knob for forgoing the bell. The time for such pleasant tries has passed. The door is unlocked and the knob turned easily in his hand. He put his ear to the door and listened for any sign of life. He's acting like a thief, he realized with some shame, but that is the least of his worries now. No sound from no sound from within. After checking the street again to make sure no one is looking, he quickly opened the door and disappeared inside. An indescribable benar, sting immediately assaulted his nostril. He is already prepared for anything. However, so rather than discourage him, the stench only sharpened his caution to a razor's edge. Although rather the developer of patience, so thank them very much. Eh? Although rather he has crossed this threshold many times in the past, and his memories of days spent here are still bright. So why? Why does he feel the same ominous, blood-chilling aura that permeates Ogai's home and cabin? Anger and sorrow seize Koji's heart, as though a dear friend's grave has been defiled. Koji doesn't remove his shoes before entering. He knows why he's here, and it's not to be polite. Every storm shutter is closed, filling the house with gloom, and he can see nothing but pitch black darkness through the open door in the hallway. What kind of game is this? A visual novel? Yeah, it's a visual novel. It's a gore one. It's a gore one. He should have brought his flashlight from the car. He think ruefully, then remembered that he dropped the light when Fuminori attacked him. It's still lying in the backyard of the in cabin in Tochigi. The house might be empty. Then again, it might not. Each particle of the air seems charged with the silent menace. Is his enemy lurking somewhere in the darkness? It's not hard to imagine Fuminori waiting for a chance to take him by surprise and finish what the well fell to. Koji walks down the first floor hallway, then climbs the stair and checks the second floor too. He moves slowly and carefully, keeping his sense sharp, but feels nothing watching him from the shadow. After completing his round safely, he is convinced that the house is empty. It turns out a chat. You can relax and lie with your eyes closed because a professional reader will read this audiobook to you. He suddenly realized that his right hand is touching the cold steel of the gun in his pocket. Did he intend to draw the weapon upon encountering Fuminori? Now that Koji thinks about it, his own action seems mysterious to him. What is he planning to do when he meets Fuminori? Will he lay into him with curses and epithets? Will he force him to turn himself in, or will he? Koji shake his head. This isn't the time for such hopeless question. He keeps thinking he'll stop moving. If he stops moving, fear will paralyze him forever. His only choice is to keep marching on. He has to close the distance on his prey, to his prey. In any case, Fuminori isn't home. What form their reunion takes will probably be decided at the moment of their meeting. All Koji has to do is not to hesitate when the time comes. Still, why does the whole house smell like stagnant water? It's been 3 months since Fuminori himself from his friend. Just what kind of life has he been leading all this time? Koji enters the living room and feels along the wall for the light switch. The moment he flips it on, the answer to his question is revealed. What? How far has Fuminori gone? Koji realized that this is the first time he has encountered Fuminori insanity in visible form. From the dust pile in the corner of the room, it is clear that the paint was not applied recently. How many nights has Fuminori spent surrounded by this maddening array of color? Did someone sneeze in this apartment? What do you mean? Why, if such obvious signs were available, why didn't Koji realize that something was wrong before it got this bad? Was he deaf to the dying scream of Fuminori's sanity? Was their friendship really so worthless? As he stands petrified in the unfamiliar living room, Koji directs his anger entirely at himself. If he could, he would like nothing more than to apologize to Fuminori for failing to help him through his suffering. Well, it's all in some kind of green liquid. I can safely assume that it's not. What do you mean? Is there a purple snot? What do you mean? Is there blue? Koji passes through the living room and opens the sliding door that leads to the kitchen. When he enters, he finds that the most disturbing of the houses, the house many stench is strongest here, blood. The room is redolent with the smell of countless layers of blood, grown stale over time. He peers into the well-used sink. Around the rim, he sees faint brownish red bucket that water alone couldn't rinse off. Even more obvious are the stains of this rack. Such stains are proof that the rack has been used and reused countless times. But what could it have been used on to make it that sickening burgundy color? Koji stared at the refrigerator next to the counter, as though it were a monster waiting to swallow him whole. He stands motionless until he is able to work up the courage simply to touch it. Then he still himself, grab the thick handle and open the door. He'll check the freezer, then the refrigerator. The freezer is packed with frozen meat of varying shape and size. As each piece is wrapped tightly in frost over plastic, he can't tell what kind of meat it is. The meat in the refrigerator, however, has already been thawed for consumption. For a while, he can only stare in disbelief at five figures beckoning to him. From the back of the compartment, they are the long, slender fingers of a woman. Their bluish tinge, giving them the appearance of wax work. Well, he sneezed with blood, with whom it does not happen. Okay, I have the same kind of food near my house. Oh, okay. Koji is unable to remember what Omi's hand looked like, even though he has kissed her finger countless times. When he finished crying after his conversation with Fuminori, Koji promised himself that he would not cry again, and in fact, he doesn't. He regrets his decision. However, he indulged himself too early. He should have saved his shooting tears for this moment. For now, he knows that truly nothing is sacred. At last, his doubts about Fuminori have been utterly obliterated. Koji pulls Ogai's revolver out of his pocket and wraps his hand around it, grip like he would a charm. Its definite presence, its promise of merciful annihilation, is the only thing keeping his sanity intact. He will surely use it to kill Sakisaka Fuminori. Not for revenge, not for justice, but to make this world once more a place governed by reason. For that purpose alone, he must eliminate the anomaly. He breathed it, exhale, then lift his hand before his face and stare at his spread finger. Alright, he's not shaking. He's prepared to face his new objective. Koji sticks the revolver back into his pocket and pulls out his phone. Oh, ini yang kamu bilang ya, Bro Review ya? Buat dua ending ini ya? Ryoko yang mana Ryoko? Very tasty. I advise everyone. Oh, okay. Fuminori or Ryoko? Ryoko tuh yang mana ya? Save. Okay. He calls Fuminori. He calls Ryoko. Ryoko yang mana? Kan Fuminori si tokoh utama. Ryoko aja deh. Oh, Ryoko tuh dokter. The ringing of her cell phone interrupts Ryoko's labor. When she sees that the caller is Tono Koji, she unwittingly breathes a sigh of relief.
田んぼだ。
This is
どうした？
Tanbo. What is it? What is it? I've searched Fuminori's house. Even over the phone, Ryoko can hear the change in Koji's tone. He is the dull, flat voice of someone who has had all the energy beaten out of him. Fuminori has murdered people. He has killed too many people to count, and he is eating them. His first step into Ryoko's world have already brought him face to face with something particularly gruesome. In consideration of his probable state of mind, he decided to say nothing. Omi is dead. Koji continues. Tsukuba too. Probably. Doctor, I was
君
wrong.
は生きているうちにこの電話をかけてきたんだから、
The fact
ま
that
だ
you're
致命的
still
な
alive to
間違い
make
を
this
犯したわけ
call
じゃない。
means you haven't made a final mistake yet. Ryoko says, praising Koji in her own way. Whether he is comfort or not is up to him.
ともかく、もう
Anyway,
今度こそ
don't
間違
screw
うな。
up this time. Do nothing
私が
until
も
I
う君が
return.
相手にしているやつ、
What we are dealing with here
一筋縄じゃいかない相
isn't
手だ。
going down easy. With her understanding of Saya deepening by the hour, Ryoko is able to make this declaration with new confidence. Fuminori already know I'm alive. I didn't tell him who rescued me, but he is definitely on guard.
そうか。
I see. Koji's actions were rash, but there's no point regretting them now. The more proactive approach will be to use the pressure that he's placed on Fuminori. Ryoko's involvement is still a secret. Okay, masih belum tahu ya. That make her a wild card, depending on how she plays it. This advantage could be decisive. Have you found
まだ
anything?
十分な量
Not
とは
enough
言えない
yet, Ryoko answered, glancing sidelong at the loose leaf pages still scattered across the table. Let's see. I'll wrap this up
夜ま
by
でには目処
evening
をつ
and
けて、
return to Tokyo
夜半
around
にはそれ
midnight.
まで君は余計
You
なこと
stay
を
out
せ
of
ず、
trouble until then.
おとなしくしている。
Got it? Yes. The lack of emotion in Koji's voice is actually reassuring to Ryoko. He's a machine now, able to do whatever it takes to accomplish a single goal, the extermination of Sakisaka Fuminori. He is even willing to accept help from Ryoko, whose principle hardly matched with his. A praiseworthy change indeed. After Ryoko hangs up, he gloomily counts the stack of loose leaf that still need to be restored. There's no time left. She'll only be able to get the general picture. If she has go into battle with only fragmentary knowledge, then there's one thing that she absolutely must decipher. Ogai's biological reports, which should contain information on the strength and weakness of the organism called Saya. Ah, benar. Kita belum dapat ininya, weakness dari si creature ini. All she can do now is pray for luck as she dive back into the mountain of paper. Today was the first time I've driven since since my accident last summer. The proposition was always too dangerous to consider, given my inability to recognize roads and car. Things have changed, however. In 3 months, I have had to adapt to my condition. I know what cars and pedestrian looks like now, and even though I can't exactly see color, I've learned a decipher light and turn signal. Still can't read street sign, of course. Nevertheless, I managed to make it safely to our destination with Saya and Yo in the backseat. It was Saya who came up with the idea for our new hideout, an abandoned building she had discovered while living with Dr. Ogai. In this silly suburban residential areas, it's not hard to find thick patches of undeveloped forest just off the beaten path. Saya's old playground is located in one such secluded area, unaffected by the flow of everyday life. It used to be privately operated, so sanatorium itu buat ini gak sih? Buat rumah sakit jiwa gitu gak sih? Hidden among the silent trees. After the owner went bankrupt, it remained unsold and was eventually forgotten. Sanatorium itu antara buat rumah sakit jiwa gitu atau yang buat lihat bintang itu, aku lupa. After I left Saya and Yo at the hideout, I returned to town to make some preparation. Now I'm finally back at our new refuge. I like this ruin from the moment I saw it. Mountain of construction materials and garbage litter the front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. This place looks even less likely to receive unwanted attention than our house. Since my brain sees human a revolting monster, places they've been tend to sting or seem covered in filthy slime. Ruins like this, long empty of life, are the places I find the most restful. Iya sih, kan kalau dia ngeliat orang-orang rame gitu kan, ngeliat tumor-tumor gitu dia jadinya. Kalau nggak ada orang ya lebih tenang ya. I'm back. I call out to let them know I'm not stranger. Then I go down to the basement where they are hiding. Anjir, ada basement ya. Welcome back. Were you okay with the
もう
car?
全然問
It
題
was
な
no
い
problem at all. I
一方通
figure
行の
out
標識もどういうのか
how
分か
to
ったし
tell which roads
スピードさえ出さな
are
ければ
one way.
どこを走っ
As
ても
long
大
as
丈
I
夫
keep my speed down, there's
で
nothing to worry
そっちは
about. So how are things here?
一通り調べたけど、やっぱり あれからずっと人が来た様子はないみた
I
い。
took a look around
ここは
as
安全だ
I
よ。
thought there's no sign that anyone's been here since I found this place. It's safe.
そうか。
I see.
ならいい
Let's
んだ
hope
けど。
it stayed that way. I'm a little worried that this abandoned building could become a hangout for biker gangs or homeless people.
多
Benar
分
juga.
表に積み上げてあるゴミのせい。あれ、普
It's
通の
probably
人間
because
には
of
ちょ
all
っと
the
耐えられ
trash
ないんじゃない
piled
か
out
な。
front. Most people won't get anywhere near. Oh, most people won't get anywhere near that, don't you think?
うーん。
I guess. It doesn't bother me at all. I rather like it, in fact. But of course, normal people will feel differently.
で、
So,
Luminary
how
no
was your
kaimono wa?
shopping? Did you find
Inu.
something
あ
new?
も
I
ちろん。
sure did. I proudly unwrapped the weapon I just bought from camping goods store. A 1 meter long wood axe. The biggest and sturdiest I could find.
刃渡り15センチ以上のナイフは銃刀法違反
I
だっ
like
て
how
張り
this
紙してあ
was
るのに
right next to a
その隣
sign
でこんなもの売ってる
saying
んだ
that
よ。
long knife
お
are
笑いだよ
illegal.
ね。
Seems like you could do way more damage with one of these. I gripped the axe with both hands, testing its dependable weight, then swing it like a baseball bat. Then the deadly steel blade swept through the air right where a person's neck will be. Yo, who is sprawled out on the floor, flinched at the sound and curled herself into a ball.
切れ味とかどう？
How sharp is it?
用で試してみたら？
Want to test it on
い
you?
や、それはちょっと。
I don't think that's a good idea. I definitely wasn't expecting Saya to suggest anything so brutal.
心配いらないよ。今のようの体だったら刃物とかの傷は
You
割
don't
と
need to
簡単に
worry.
治っちゃ
Her
うか
new
ら。
body can heal pretty easily from cuts and such.
いや、それにしたって痛い
But
だ
I'm
ろ。
sure it will hurt.
そっか。
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
そうだね。
It must have slipped her mind completely. She smiled at the oblivious yaw, as if to hide her embarrassment, then says,
でもさ、痛くされた時のような
But her screams are pretty
それは
adorable,
それで可愛いよね。
don't you think? Anjir, nih loli juga nggak beres. Tapi emang nggak beres kan lolinya?
いや、やっぱり人間に斧で切りかかるっての
Well,
は
I just
気が引けるよ。
wouldn't feel right using an axe on a human.
そうなの？
Really?
じゃあ
Then what about
そり
Koji?
ゃだって、
That's easy. It should be obvious. Then I guess that Saya still don't
やつ
understand.
は僕には人間に見えないから、切ろうが潰そうが
I
平
don't
気な
see
もん
him
さ。
as a human. I'll have no trouble cutting him to pieces.
うーん。
That really makes a
そう
difference.
さ、
Yeah,
人
human
間
have
に
a
は良心があるからね。
conscience.
どんなに憎い人間だろうと、人を殺すと思うとブレーキがかかるもんだ。
No matter how much you hate
そこが
someone,
僕
you
の
can't
挑戦で
help
も
but
ある。
think twice about killing them. And that's how I'll win.
本当に？
Really? Saya seemed awfully subdued. I guess she is cornered about what will happen when I have it out with Koji.
体格じゃあい
He's
つが上
bigger
だ
and
し、
stronger,
普通
so
に
I
喧
might
嘩したんじゃ
not
勝
have
ち目は
much
薄いかも
chance
しれないけどね。
against him in a straight up fight.
でも、僕にとっての化け物退治が、あい
But
つにとっては人殺し
What's
なんだ。
just slaying a monster to me is murder to him.
あいつはきっと
This is big.
最後の
He
瞬
will
間で隙を
definitely
見せる。
hesitate when it counts.
なんだか不安なんだよね。
I'm a little worried,
そういう心理戦って
Saya
いうの
says softly, staring at the
確実じゃない
floor
っていう
with
か。
unusual gravity. You can never be sure how someone will react. It's dangerous to rely on that. She raised her hat and looked straight at me.
ねえ、やっぱり私が買った方がよく
Don't you
ない？
think it will be better if I hunt him? I appreciate Saya's consideration, even though it could be interpreted as a lack of faith in me. She is still putting my safety above her. Nevertheless, I can't accept her heartfelt
サ
suggestion.
ヤの腕力だとさ、ヨウみたいな女の子なら、
With your
楽にね
strength,
じ伏せられ
you
るだろ
might
う
be
けど、
able to overpower a girl
男を
like
相手に
you,
は
but I
厳しい
think
と
it
思う
will
んだ。
be hard for you to take down a guy. The bitter memory of Saya's rape Anjir is still fresh in my mind. Saya falls silent for a moment, seeming to understand what I'm thinking, but then comes right back to stubbornly press her case.
でもね、
My first
あの
attack
おじ
went
さん
fine
も
though.
最初の不意打
Most
ち
human
はう
go
まくいった
limps
の。
as soon as they see
最
me.
低の人間、病院だって
It
そうだ
was
った
the。same in the hospital. They
平気
were
で話しかけてきたのっ
you were
て
the only one
海
who
のり
could
だけ
talk
だ
to
よ。
me. I
まあ
guess you have a
それも
point.
一理あるかもな。
I can't imagine it personally, but I suppose it's possible that Saya's appearance is shocking enough to make someone lose their nerve. Susumi was able to gain the advantage because he had the same condition as me, which let him see Saya as a cute girl. Fear doesn't necessarily make people weaker, however. Depending on the situation, it can even send someone into a berserk rage and make them harder to put down. In other words, such a tactic will be the same sort of gamble that Saya's worried about.
じゃあさ、さや、
Alright, Saya,
こ
how
ういう
about
のはどうだ
this?
ろうか。
When I tell Saya the new plan that just popped into my head, her gloomy frown turned into a bright smile.
それめえやん。
That's perfect. You're so
何も
smart,
そこまで。
Fuminori. Oh, stop. It's not exactly a great plan, but I guess the fact that it lessened the risk to me is enough to excite her. She's so easy to please, but that's part of what makes her so cute.
で、いつ頃来るの？
So
コウジさん。
when is Koji
わからな
coming?
い。
I don't know.
い
He'll
ずれ
call
奴の方
sooner
から
or
電話がある
later,
だろ
and then I'll lure
う。
him
そしたら
here
ここ
and
に
finish
誘い出
him.
して仕留める。
Koji will come. I know that he won't leave us alone. We could just keep running now that we've started. But I want to eliminate Koji as soon as possible. Therefore, when he contacts me, I intend to meet with him unless it's an obvious trap.
せっかく人間一人分の肉が仕入れられるのに、
We are finally
こ
going
こ
to
だ
get
と
more
腐
human
らせ
meat.
ちゃうね。
Too bad, it's
冷蔵
just
庫ない
going
し。
to rot without a
他
refrigerator.
の動物を誘う餌にできないか。
Why don't we use it to
野良
trap
猫とか
other
カラスをお
animals?
びき寄せ
It
てさ。
could be bait for stray cats or
そ
cows.
れ危ないよ。万が一取り逃した時、よそに持っていかれて他人に見つかったら大騒ぎになる
That's too
よ。
dangerous. If an animal gets away with the meat, someone might find it and wonder where it came
そ
from.
っか。
Good point.
それもそうだ。
Humans are extremely dangerous and their filthy, stinking bodies make me sick just by being nearby. Ironically, however, nothing tastes better than their meat. I truly regret having to abandon our well-stocked fridge.
まあ、この辺だと森にもいろいろと住んでるから、
The forest around
そんな
here
に
is
食
full
事
of
には
animals.
困らないんじゃな
I
いか
don't
な。
think we'll have any trouble finding food.
3人分だよ
We。have 3 mobs to
大丈夫かい？
feed. Are you sure?
任せて。
Leave it to
これ
me.
でもさや、
I
狩りは
may
得意な
not
んだから
look it, but I'm
頑張っていっぱい
I'm
捕ま
a
えてく
pretty
る
good
よ。
hunter. I'll be sure to keep us well
そう
fed.
か。じゃあ、
Okay,
今日から
looks
サヤ
like
が
you're
一家の
going
大
to
黒
be the
柱だな。
breadwinner of this family. Saya giggles happily at my praise. I find these childish qualities of her adorable.
今度はどのぐらいのんびりできる
I
か
wonder
な。
how long we'll be able to relax this time. Because of the casual way she says it, I almost miss the emptiness to which her question leads.
どのぐらいか
Yeah.
な。
Saya's right. This won't last forever. No matter how safe this hideout might seem, we'll have to abandon it eventually. The slightest mistake could put our life together in jeopardy, just like when I failed to silence Koji. Some dumb kids might decide that this old ruin is a good place to test their courage, or this land might be targeted for new development. In order to be together with Saya, I have chosen to live apart from society. We'll never find lasting peace in this world teeming with human. No, unless we can somehow escape from it.
長い旅だと思えばいいさ。
Think of it like going on a journey, just the two of us. I pull Saya into my arms and fold my back around her slender shoulder, then
ど
whisper,
うせ人生なんて旅みたい
Life
なもの
is
なん
like
だ
a。 journey.
永遠に変わら
Life
ない
is
場所なん
like
て
a
ない。
journey anyway. Nothing stayed the same before.
時の流れを見
Nothing
送るか
stayed the same forever.
自分自身が流れて
The
いく
only
か
difference is
それだけ
whether
の違い
time
だよ。
passes you by or sweep you up in its flow.
そうだよね。
I guess you are right. Saya smiled softly, perhaps in resignation, perhaps in sadness. Either way, there is peace and contentment in her expression.
それでも
But we'll be together, so I'm not lonely. You're not lonely either, are you?
あ
No, I have no regrets. As long as I can hold Saya in my arms, I will gladly pay any price.
それにね、
And besides, she adds brightly, trying to cheer
い
me
つ
up.
かは
One day,
私たちが人目を
we
忍んで
won't
暮らさな
have
くて
to
も
hide
よくなる日
anymore.
が
I can promise you. I can promise you
それ
that.
は約束してあげるから。
It sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason, she might absolutely certain
それは明日かもしれないし、
that day might be
ずっと先の
tomorrow,
ことかもし
or
れ
it
ない。
might be far off in the future.
いつ印が来るのか私にもわからないの。
It's my first
初
time,
めてのことだ
so
か
even
ら。
I don't know when the sign will
ほ
come.
んのちょっぴり怖いんだけどね。
Bang, ini kalau udah 3 jam bakal gak di save lagi. Ini kayaknya bakal tamat nih bener lagi kucing biru. Gak tau dah. Ini udah mau tamat belum bro itu buat ending ini. Tapi dia belum nelpon sih. I have no idea what Saya's prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time that she has said or done something mysterious. She has performed any number of miracles
僕
already,
らにも
so there's hope
希望
for
があ
us
るの
too.
かい
Yeah, she says with a cheerful nod.
きっとそれが
It
さ
will
や
be
が
my
み
last
のりに送っ
present
てあ
to
げられ
you,
る
Fuminori,
最後のプレゼ
my
ント。
first and final duty.
さやの最初で最後の務め。
The hand of his watch moved with agonizing slowness, as though counting down to the end of the world. In the hours since contacting Ryoko, Koji went back to his apartment, showered, changed clothes, and even had his first full meal in days. He wanted to take a nap, knowing that he needed the rest, but no matter how hard he tries, sleep never came. Forcing himself to relax only made his nerve colder and sharper. Anjay, Papa Sonic. With nothing else to do, he decides to wander the city until nightfall. Downtown Tokyo is bustling, surrounded by smiling pedestrians, bright lights, and windows decorated early for Christmas. He feels as if all of the happiness in the world has been gathered in this very place. Koji takes it all in and burning it into his memory like it's the last thing he will ever see. Is the world so beautiful because of the horror that lurks in its shadow? The glow of the city can no longer warm him. Perhaps that is why it seems so precious. Sabar, minum dulu. Sama ke toilet bentar deh. Oke, I'm back. Tak turu sek bang. Bang, lu kemana? Halo, found. Found. Fun. Koji watches the city for hours. It feels unreachably distant, like reading the obituary of someone you loved long ago. His phone rings at 8 p.m. It's Ryoko. Their conversation is short. She hangs up as soon as they decide where to meet. And so on. Tono Koji final night of peace. Oh. Ryoko arrived at the dinner at 1 a.m. 1 hour later than agreed upon. Anjir, telat deh. Ngaret. She has a heavy-looking duffel bag under her arm. Koji doesn't feel like asking what the bulge represents.
すまんね。いろいろと準備に
Sorry, I
手間
had a lot to get together. Ryoko doesn't sound at all apologetic, but Koji decided to just nod expressionlessly. Only a few tables are filled at this hour, like Lonely Island in the midst of the fast restaurant. After sending the bleary-eyed waitress away with an order for 2 coffees, Koji and Ryoko are left all alone in a corner of the dining area.
で、調べ物は終わりましたか？
So did you find what you were looking for? Koji asked bluntly while sipping dutifully from his third cup of watery, tasteless coffee.
待たせただけの甲斐はあると思った
Watery,
ね。
tasteless coffee. Pasti
何分確証を得るまでには至ってないんだが。
I would like to think I didn't make you wait for nothing. At least, though I'm still not sure of
海
anything.
のりも相当じれてると思います。こちらから連絡すると言ったきり、丸一日放置してますか
I
らね
think Fuminori is under a lot of stress. I've left him hanging for a day since I told him I will call.
そんなにも彼は君との接触を意識してる。
Do you really think you have him on edge?
サヤっていう名前には露骨なほ
His
ど反応して
reaction
まし
to
た。
the name Saya was very clear. The silence that follows, Koji tries to soothe his parched throat with another mouthful of weak coffee.
そうか。
I see.
やはり鞘なのか。
Ryoko mutters, so it is Saya. It's obvious that her grimace isn't for the coffee.
今なら田んぼ先生はもう答えを知ってるんで
You
す。
know, don't you?
サ
Koji
ヤという
asked,
のが何
his
なのか。
tone almost confrontational. You know what the Saya is. Ryoko tries to ignore Koji's question by nursing her coffee, but that only works until the cup is empty. Staring at the brown stain at the bottom of her cup, Ryoko says, her voice hard and flat.
君は私の忠告を無視した愚か者なわけ
You
だ
were
が。
foolish enough to ignore my warning once.
もう一度だけ証拠りもなく言わせてほしい。殿君、
But I'm just as
君は
stubborn
手を
as
引い
you.
て全てを
So
忘
I'm
れるべ
going
き
to say this one more time. Go home, Tono, and forget everything that's happened.
証拠りもないですね。
You really are stubborn, Koji replies, smilingly bitterly instead of glaring at her like he did
俺
before.
がまだ先生や文則とは境界線を挟んだ反対側にい
Are
る
you
とで
saying that I still haven't crossed the line separating me from you and
君
Fuminori?
はまだ一番致命的なものまでは見ていない。
You still haven't seen the most damning part of all
君にとっ
this.
てこの事件は無二の親友がいきなり正気を失って
As far as you are
目覚めたっ
concerned,
ていう
Ryoko continues with a disparaging smirk. Your best friend in the whole world suddenly went crazy and became a cannibal. That's all this thing is to you, isn't it? That's all? The thing that Fuminori has done are so horrifying that Koji's only recourse. His only hope of coping is to kill the man who was once his friend. Yet despite that, Ryoko make this nightmare sounds like just the beginning. Koji still doesn't understand where her morbid cynicism comes from, nor does he want
それ
it.
だけじゃないとしたら残りは先
You
生
say
の妄
there's
想なんじゃ
something
ないです
more,
か
but aren't you just imagining it?
そう思えるならまだ
See,
君の
that's
傷
how
は
I
浅い
know
って
your
ことさ。
wounds are still shallow. Her brusque tone says that she doesn't care whether or not Koji is satisfied with her
今
explanation.
ならまだ
If you beg
時
out
間が
now,
君の傷
they
を
will
癒して
probably
くれるだろ
heal,
う。
given time. You haven't
君は
crossed the final line
最
yet.
後の一線を踏み越えていない。
Koji considered Ryoko's word calmly, without letting himself get emotional like before. The final line. True. Fuminori is somewhere beyond that. Although Koji has gone for to be willing to kill Fuminori, he has no intention of eating his enemy's flesh when he's dead. That at least still separates the two. Then what about Ryoko, who has treated Koji like an ignorant fool ever since she saved him from the well? How close is she to
先生
Fuminori?
の傷は俺よりも深
You're
い
saying your wounds are deeper than mine. In response to Koji biting question, Ryoko's mocking smile turned
この
inward.
銃はね、実家の父
This
のものな
gun
ん
was
だ。
my father's, you know. Ryoko pats one of her duffel bags
こい
full.
つがロッカーから消え
His
たせい
hunting
で、
club kicked him
父は
out
責
when it
任を問われて
disappeared from his
申
locker.
し訳ないと思ってるよ。
Feels
私の
bad
両
about
親に
that.
とっては
My
自慢
parents
の
were
娘
always
なんだ。
proud of me. They
そ
probably
れが
never
金庫の
even
銃を盗み
suspect
出すなんて想
that I
像も
was
して
the
ないだろ
one who took it.
そうするだけの必要が先生にはあったと
So you had a good reason for
いいや
taking it.
全然。
No, not at all. Her quick denial isn't what Koji was
その頃に
expecting.
はもう王外のことは一見落着していた。
At the
少
time,
なくとも
the
私は
Ogai
そう
mess
思っ
had
ていた。
already ended. At least, that's what I thought.
奴は姿を消したきり、もう二度
He
と
had
私の前
vanished
には
without
現れ
trace,
ないだろうと安
and I
心
was
してた。
sure I would never see him again.
この銃で何かを撃とうとか、殺そうとか、
I didn't steal this
そういう
gun
必要
because
が
I
あった
needed
わ
to
け。
shoot
じゃあなぜ
someone.
眠れなかったんだよ。
Because I couldn't sleep.
ただ
That's
それ
all.
だけ。
Riko paused, perhaps needing time to decide how best to explain. Aneh
それ
juga.
までは
Dia nggak bisa tidur
ベッド
jadi
サイドに
nyolong
ナタを
senjata
隠し
anjir.
ておいたん
The
だ。
fuck?
夜一人で
Anjir,
部屋にいる
orang
の
nggak
が
bisa
耐
tidur
えら
nyolong
れなくて
senjata.
ね。
Gokil juga ya. Until then, she continues, choosing her word carefully. I was sleeping with a machete next to my bed. Anjir, nih orang gokil juga. I couldn't stand being alone at night, you see.
どんなに世界が底抜けにめちゃくちゃにな
That
ってい
no
こ
matter
う
what
と、
horror the
悲鳴
world
を
might
上げて逃げ
hold,
回
I
る以
still
外
had
の
some
選
power
択肢も
against
自
the
分にはあ
madness.
る。そう納得させるためにはね。
I needed a weapon
部屋の
I
中
could
に
count
何か
on.
一つ。
Koji doesn't know what to say. He's amazed, impressed. Even that, someone with such a serious case of delusional paranoia could function as one of the university's top doctor. Emang agak delusional sih.
でも、
It
それ
didn't
じゃ
work
大した効き
though.
目はなかった。
My nightmare kept on getting
安
worse.
眠するには、ナタじゃまだ足りな
A
かった。
machete just wasn't
それで
enough
父の
to
銃を
let
盗ん
me
で
sleep
きた。
peacefully. That's when I stole my
こ
father's
んな
gun.
風に重心を詰
By
めると
cutting
ね、
the barrel down like
散
this,
弾がもっ
the
と
shot
広範囲に
spread
飛び散るよう
over a
になって、
wider
殺傷力
area
が増
and
すんだ
caused
ぞ。
more
アメリカで
damage.
も重罪になる
I
改造
hear
なん
that
だと
even
さ。
in America, carrying a sawed-off
私はそれ
shotgun
を
is
ク
a
ローゼ
crime.
ットの奥に突っ込んで、
But with this gun
そ
sitting
れ
in
で
the
ようや
back
く
of
眠
my
れるようになっ
closet,
て、
I was finally able to
3
sleep.
日に一晩ぐらいはね。
One night out of 3, that is. At this point, Ryoko seems to have gotten everything off to her chest. Smiling, like someone who just finished a hard job, she adds,
銃はいいよ、本当に。
A gun is a great thing to have, you know. It really is.
相手に向かってぶっ放すもよし、それでダメなら、
You
自分
can
の
use
口
it
に
to
突っ
blow
込んで
your
引き
enemies
金を
away
引くっていう
in,
選
and
択
if
肢
that
もある。
doesn't work, you can always stick it in your mouth and pull the trigger.
先生は
Doctor, you need
端
help.
的な感想ありがとう。
Anjir, thanks for the honest opinion.
君だって
You
他
won't be
人事
able
じゃ
to
なくな
talk
るよ。
like that for much
こ
longer.
れ以
though.
上先に進むんだ
Not
ね。
if you go any further. Koji is already doubtful that meeting with Ryoko was the right thing to do. The one thing that he and Ryoko have in common is an unwillingness to leave Fuminori to the proper authorities. Fuminori not only killed Koji's lover and friend, but even went so far as to defile their corpse. Koji isn't about to give him the chance to get off on an insanity plea. No matter what crimes he must commit, Koji will end Fuminori with his own two hands. If he doesn't, he knows that he will never sleep again. It helps to have a partner in crime, but only when the partner doesn't cause trouble. Ryoko talks big about exposing Ogai's secret, but she might just have a hatful of delusion. If so, Koji needs to rethink this whole thing.
この先すべてを先生に任せろというのなら
If you are telling
先
me
生
to
のことを
leave
信
this
用
to
させてくだ
you,
さい
Koji says with unflappable determination, then please give me some reason to trust.
先生をそこまで追い詰めるほどのものがオーガイっていう男にあった
Prove
という
to
証
me
拠を
there's a
彼が
reason
何をしでかしたのか
for you to
全
be
て俺に見
obsessed
せて
with
ください
Ogai. Show me that he did.
そこまで言うかね。
So you determined to go all the way. Oh well. Ryoko smirked and shake her head gracefully, but up no further resistance. She pulled a stack of paper from her bag and handed to Koji. The loose-leaf sheet are bonding with string.
一行読んだら続きは次のページの同じ行だ。
After you read one
Oh.
line, it continues on the
触りだけで
same
も読ん
line
でみるといい。
of the next page. Anyway, just skim it. As directed, Koji looks like through the handwriting pages and give up after less than 3 minutes.
怪奇 SF の走行か何かですか
Is this a draft for a horror
罪
novel
のない
or
悪ふざ
something?
けですね彼にはこんな
I
子供っ
didn't
ぽい
think
趣味があっ
Ogai
たわ
had
けだ
such childish hobbies. Koji deliberately scoffed at the document, doing everything he can to show contempt for what he's tried. At the same time, he tries desperately not to remember the fountain of bone in Ogai bathtub and the undefiable smell permeating Fuminori's house.
1年前
The specimen that Ogai brought to the hospital 1 year ago were
その
just
文章と
as
同じぐらい突
unbelievable,
拍子もないもの。
Ryoko says, coldly ignoring Koji's
奴は
disdain.
大学の機材を無断で使ってこっそり検査をしようとしたらしい。
Apparently, he continued his research in secret and using our supplies without permission.
だがドジを踏んで露見した。
But he made a mistake
そこから
and was
先はもう
discovered.
大騒
That's
ぎだ
when
ね。
things got crazy.
オーガイが使おうとした機材から察するに、
Judging by the equipment he was
奴
trying
は
to
そいつを
use,
P3 レ
he
ベルの
meant
バイオ
to
ハザードと
treat
して取り扱う
his
つもりだったらし
experiment
い。
as a P3 level biohazard.
その程度の用心で十
To
分
be
だったの
honest,
かどう
even
か
that
は
might
知れ
not
たもん
have
じゃない
been
んだね。
sufficient for what he was
近
dealing
隣
with.
の住民を退去させるべきだったんだが、
We should have
まあそこは
evacuated the
偉い人
nearby
たちが偉い人なりに頑張って
civilians, but the
全部
big
なかった
shot
ことにしてくれたよ。
did their things and made the whole mess
その代
disappear.
わり私たちは
In
キャンバ
exchange,
ス中の
we
ネズ
were
ミを一
left
匹残
with
ら
the
ず駆除する
task
羽目になった。
exterminating every
ネズミ
single
と
rat on the
かつ
campus,
てネズミだった
including
何
the
かをね。
things that used to be the rats. At first meeting, Ryoko brushed Koji off when he asked about Ogai Masahiko. Now, however, she's telling the whole story, her voice as flat and emotionless as a machine.
事の究明
In
に
the
は
end, everyone
結
gave
局皆
up
が
trying
サジ
to
を投げ
explain
た。
what had happened.
オーガイが持ち込んだ資料がどういう期限
No
のも
one
のなの
could
か
figure out where
誰にも突き止める
his
ことが
material had come from or what
ま
they
あ結
were.
局みんな懸命だったわけだ。
In retrospect, they did the
理
wise
性は理
thing.
性。
They knew how
ざれ
to
事は
keep
ざ
the
れ事。
line between reality and
そういう線引
fantasy.
きを危うくしな
where
い
it
で
should
す。
be.
でもあいにく
In
当時の私は
Unfortunately,
そこまで懸命じゃな
was
かった。
not so wise. Reiko paused for a moment, then grinned with self-disdain so maniacal that it struck Koji like a bow.
あれこれ探って
I
暴
searched
き出して
everywhere for Ogai,
私はオーガイが何をし
flushed
ていた
him,
のか知っ
and
た。
finally learned what he had been
彼が
doing.
関わっていた連中や彼をそそのか
I
した連
found the
中も突き
people
止め
he
た。
had been dealing with and who had encouraged him perform encourage him to perform his
ナタと
experiment.
添い寝するようになったのはその
That's
頃
when
か
I
ら。
started sleeping with the medicine.
この世の理性ってものは
I
どんなに
had
ただの
learned
言うん
just
だ。
how
穴だら
absurd,
けの
how
頼りない
hollow,
代物なのか理解するようになっ
how
た。
worthless our precious reason is. As though fleeing from the quiet insanity that he keeps glimpsing in Ryoko, Koji finds himself paging through the lost leaf in his hand. Read a line at random. That organism flesh is not blubber, but reticulated, but simply it is an extremely dough substance that expand and contract not in one direction, but in all directions. This means that slashing or piercing damage has very little, since the flesh can be contracted in any direction freely, and it will be sealed instantly. It's nonsense. What else can it be? If he let himself believe it, then everything else, all the logical rules that define the world, will be rendering the
じゃ
meaningless.
あ先生は信じるんですね、この内容を。
Do you believe what's in this
疑う理由
doctor?
なんて
I
と
lost
っ
any
くの
reason
昔
to
に見
doubt
失っ
in
た
a
から
long
ね。
time ago. Ryoko reached her duffel bag again, this time removing stainless steel thermos that looks like able to hold about 500
こ
cc's.
いつが鞘を倒す切り札だ。
This is the
調達
secret
するのに手間
weapon
取った
that will let us
多分
defeat
こいつ
Saya.
は敵
It
面
was a
に効
pain
く。
dog to it, but but it should work like a charm.
ついていけません。
I can't take this anymore. Koji snapped, no longer able to disguise his
サヤが何だろう
frustration.
ともうどうでもいい
I
で
don't
す。
care about Saya.
俺
All
は
I
文
care
則
is
を終わら
about
せること
killing
ができればそれ
Fuminori.
でいい。
I can't leave this
そ
for
う
you.
か。
Now that she's given up on persuading him, her accent is as swift and cold at this moment. Koji's fate has likely ceased to
いいだろ
matter.
う。君は先坂文則を仕留め
Alright,
るため
then
に
you do
全力を
everything.
尽
You
くす
can
という
take Sakisaka down. I'll take
私もその
advantage
気に
of the
乗じさせ
opening
て
you
もらう
create.
とする。君の邪魔はしないし
I won't get in
君が
your
潜んじ
way
た時にはき
and I'll
っちり
even
と
take
私が帳尻を合
care
わせ
of
てやる。
of things that you screw up. Despite the determination in her voice, Koji can't bring himself to trust this paranoid
あ
doctor
なたの持
completely.
ち合わせている理由
Do
で
you have a
文則
reason
を
to
殺
kill
す。
潔
Fuminori?
癖症なんだよ、私は。
I like things neat and tidy.
ああやって人の世界の拉致外に奴らは寝室のゴキブリ
There
だ
are。like cockroaches in my
枕
bedroom.
元でカサコサ這い回る音を無視して
Sleep
眠
with
れる
them.
か。見つけ次第
Okay.
殺して
The
駆逐す
moment
る。
I find one,
そうせずには
I
いら
killed
れ
it
ない
and stamp out all
私の精
trace
神衛生上の
of
問
its
題だ。
existence. I have to find cure for the mistake. Tadi aku sampai mana? Bodoh amat lah. Her reasons are similar to Koji's own. He doesn't want to bring a murderer to justice, nor does he want revenge for Omi and Yo. If he did, he could have left everything to the police. The reason he can't is that the villain is Fuminori. The man he believed was his friend has turned his whole world upside down. Everything and everyone with a part in his madness is to blame, and include himself for allowing the betrayal. His self-loathing, his desire to destroy is what's keeping him on his feet.
さあ、それじゃあチェックメイトに駒を進めよう。先坂君を呼び出すといい。
Ugh. Okay, let's move in for the checkmate. Go ahead and call Sakisaka out. Koji nods, pull out his cell phone, and call his friend for what will probably be the last time. The call goes through quickly. Fuminori must have been waiting for it.
待たせたな、文則。こっちの準
Sorry
備は
to
整
keep you
った。
waiting. Fuminori, I finished my preparation. Koji, where are you? Fuminori must have been quite anxious to hear from Koji. His voice is hard and completely
お前の
emotional.
すぐ背後
Let's just say
と
I'm
でも
right
言ってお
behind
こう
you.
か。
Koji can't help but smile at Fuminori's disappointment. Perhaps Ryoko's maniacal sadism has rubbed off on
De?
him. Well, have you
筑波を
decided
解
to
放す
let
る決
Tsukuba go?
背に腹は変えられない
Yeah, I suppose I have no choice. He's lying, Koji thinks, remembering the contents Fuminori's refrigerator. Just what part of you did you eat, huh? Did you carve that poor girl up like a pig?
お前は集めた資料の全てを証拠ともども持ってこい
Bring your evidence along with all the files you've gathered.
内容を引き
When
渡
I'm
す
satisfied that they're a real thing, I'll hand you
いいだろ
over.
まず
Fine,
大阪
where?
の Y 駅まで来い
First come to Wise Station on the O line.
詳しい
When I'm sure that you're alone, I'll tell you the exact
念の
location.
言った話だな。
You are being awfully careful. No tricks, you have 45 minutes. Fuminori hangs up without waiting for Koji's response.
俺が単独なのを
He
確
won't
認する
tell
んだ
me his location
居場
until
所は
he's
教
sure
えない
I'm alone.
ただの医大生にしちゃ心得てるな。感心だ。
Not bad. For a medical student, I'm impressed. Ryoko praise sounds serious, drawing a glare from
私
Koji.
の車はここに
We'll
置いてい
leave
こう。
my car here. Is your
Tonoku.
trunk big enough
君の車のトランクに
for
人一
me
人が入
to
る
fit
隙間は。
inside?
大丈夫ですが
Yeah, but are you serious?
正気ですか
You've seen too many
映画
movies.
そんじょそこいらの映画よりは危険な冒険なんだよ。
This
こ
adventure
れ
is
は
more dangerous than anything you've seen in a movie. With those bold words, Ryoko grabs her duffel bag and rises from her seat.
で、
Weren't you the
この店を
one who
待ち合わ
chose
せ
to
に
meet here?
そうですが
Yeah.
何か
Why?
コーヒーの責
Take
任を取れ。
responsibility for the coffee, she says, and tosses him the check. Anjir. Nyuruh kita yang bayar, anjir. Even after Koji arrived at Y Station as directed, Fuminori calls him and make him change location three more times. Koji is beginning to doubt that Fuminori is watching. He might just be using the time to guess when Koji arrived at its designated location. Nevertheless, Koji can't let his guard down. Fuminori might choose any moment to make sure that he's alone. If he make a mistake and put Fuminori on alert, Ryoko will lose her chance to take him by surprise. She'll just have to put up with the cramped trunk a little while longer. Anjay. Gas, gas, gas. After the nature preserve and the dry riverbed, the fourth location to which Fuminori sent Koji is in the thick forest at the top of the foothills, high above the developed area at their base. His car's GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old abandoned sanatorium there. The park and river were empty this late at night, but during the day will likely have considerable traffic. This time, however, his instinct is telling him that it's definitely a place that no one could find, not even by accident. It looks like this is the final stop. Koji drives up the steep incline, soon leaving the residential neighborhood behind. Even though the hand of progress are right at its doorstep, the undeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This looks like a great place to live in secret, or to kill someone and hide the body. Places like this, lost and forgotten, aren't found only in deep jungle and hidden valleys. Holes in the world are very everywhere. are everywhere, even in the midst of civilization. A broken down gate pause suddenly appears in Koji's headlight, like a ghost rising from the darkness. It looks like this is the final stop. He rolls up to the gate and turns off the engine, giving himself to the silence of the forest. His phone starts ringing almost immediately. He doesn't need to check who it's from.
着いたぞ。
I'm here. Yeah, I heard you. Welcome to my new home. Fuminori is nearby, close enough to hear the sound of the engine. A shiver of excitement shot up Koji's spine. Come inside. Yo's waiting. Fuminori hangs up without any word. After grabbing his new flashlight from the glove compartment and checking that the revolver is still in his pocket, Koji opened the door and making sure to pop the trunk at exactly the same time. Ryoko shouldn't need any more explanation than that. Realizing that the interior roof light will stay on and broadcast that trunk isn't closed, Koji quickly unscrewed the bulb, then get out of the car and deliberately slammed the driver's side door hard. The mountain of trash littered the front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. Koji sees everything from small refrigerator and mopeds to huge chunks of concrete and plaster that must have been abandoned by construction worker. The fact that they could get away with leaving all this stuff shows just how remote this place is. Glancing sidelong at the rear of his car, Koji sees no movement inside the barely open trunk. Ryoko knows what she's doing. She'll probably wait until Fuminori's attention is focused on Koji before making her move. The moon is brighter than usual, allowing Koji to walk through the front yard without tripping on debris. Staying alert, he leads for the building beyond the mountain of trash. Something must be buried underneath the pile of garbage, because the whole yard is filled with the sharp, thick-acting chemicals. Even the homeless probably wouldn't come to this place. If you need to get out of the wind and rain, there are plenty of shelters are more suitable. When he reached the gasping, doorless entrance to the building, Koji glanced back the way he came. His car parked at the gate is hidden behind the mountain of trash. Even if Fuminori is watching from inside the sanatorium, he shouldn't be able to see Ryoko crawl out of the trunk. It looks like she'll get her chance to take him by surprise. How many times now has he stood like that? Like this, quote that. Alone in some ominously silent place, far removed from his everyday life. Sabar guys. How many times now blah 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 blah. Far removed from his everyday life. Sneaking into deathly quiet houses to find traces of unimaginable happenings has become as normal as going to class. The house that he explored before were like freshly shed cicada shells, empty and dilapidated, but with traces of the life they had sheltered. This place, however, is different. A perfect ruin. Its walls and pillars rising from the dark forest like an army of ghosts, with no sign at all that people once lived and worked here. The structure resembled a skeleton more than a shell. Time and the element has stripped it of its former shape. Koji has gone as far as he can. This must be the final stop. What will Fuminori's next move be? He must be planning to kill Koji, but how? Just as he's about to turn on his flashlight, Koji reconsiders. If he wanders around with the light on, he'll be broadcasting his exact location. That will give the advantage to Fuminori, who is probably lying in wait for him right now. He holds the light before him and his left hand with his finger poised on the switch. In this right hand, he raises the revolver and keeping it pointed in the same direction, now ready to fire when you turn on the light. It takes a while for his eyes to adjust, but even they do, he has only moonlight streaming through empty windows. To guide him, everything appears gray and indistinct. However, Fuminori has to deal with the same condition if he's hiding here. This is a battle of nerve, exhausting and deadly, where the first to make a sound and give away his position will lose. The room on both sides of the hallway are all open. Some are even missing their doors. Koji creeps up to each entrance, check to make sure no one is inside, then carefully proceed on. The sting that he noticed in the garden has changed. Now it smells more organic, like rotting meat. It's the exact same smell that filled Fuminori's house. The organism flashes freely, expand in a manner that render piercing damage. Meaningless. Koji grit his teeth and forced the madman's word out of his head. What good can come of taking them seriously? This isn't the time for such useless. Squish. Koji freezes and stares down the hall. It was a wet sound that he heard just now, like someone dragging their feet through a swamp. And it came from the room at the end of the hall. Something is there, something alive. Koji creeps toward the sound, his light and gun at the ready. Squish, squish. Now it sounds like someone squeezing mud through their finger, and as he gets closer, Koji begins to hear breathing. Could it be Fuminori? No, that's impossible. He should be waiting for a chance to ambush Koji, not making careless noise. As he proceeds, the strange sounds coming through the cracks in the concrete walls grow clearer. Before he knows, he's standing on the threshold. The room is filled with a thick, viscous darkness, just like every other room that he has passed. There's more than just darkness, however. Something is there. He can hear pain breathing, like that of a wounded animal, and that sounds like sobbing. Sobbing.
誰だ
Who's there? Could you whisper into the darkness? Now that he's given away his position, he might as well turn on his light. For some reason, however, Koji feels what to do so will have disastrous consequence. The last time I heard her voice on the phone, she was sobbing. The whizzing suddenly stops. And then, Koji. A whisper came out of the darkness, though not a human voice, not by any measure. It speaks some blasphemous semblance of human words. A nightmarish flash of insight connects the dot of Koji's mind.
つくば
Tsukuba? It can't be. You doesn't sound like this. She doesn't smell like this. Please, Koji, kill me. But if it's not Yo, then how will it know his name? Why is it begging him for help? No, it can't be Yo. She's human, not some creature that slithers and hides in the shadow. It hurts. This body always hurts. Save me, Koji. The thing wriggles closer. His reason cries out, imploring him to switch the light on before it's too late, or to turn and run if he cannot. But Koji is unable to make either choice. He can only call out in vain to amorphous shape in the
つくば
darkness.
なのか
Is
な
that
あおい
you?
まさかつくば
Is
なの
it
か
you, Tsukuba? Is it really you? Let me die, no more. Please kill me. Something soft slimy slid over Koji's toes. Instinct override his will, forcing him to turn on his light. The white beam revealed everything. The merciless truth has finally shattered Koji's sanity. Terror wipes his mind of all but two words, gun and trigger. His finger respond both more intense than he anticipate. And then blah 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 blah. His ears are still ringing from the bang, but he hears a weak voice coming from the shadow. It hurts. Anjir, ditembak terus, bang bang bang. Certain salvation can come only from the barrel of this gun. Light and darkness, explosion and silence. They dance before him 3 times. Koji doesn't even need to aim. The horrible creature is right at his feet, far too close to miss. Ryoko warned him how many bullets were left in the gun, but that information has already been driven from his mind. Even after cold, heavy gloom wraps itself around him once more, Koji keeps pulling the trigger like a man possessed, paying no heed to the clicking of the empty weapon. His panic-stricken legs suddenly give out, sending him down hard on his backside. Sabar. Mamaku takut. Halo Cash, welcome to the stream. Even then, he keeps firing the empty gun. He knows no other way to erase the memory of the thing that he glimpsed in the beam of his flashlight. The light, which fell from his hand during the attack, is now pointing in a different direction. And though all 4 bullets must have hit their target, they were Koji's last card to play, which left him alone in the darkness with no way to defend himself. And just as he realized that, a mass of rotting flesh rolled over him like a tidal wave. Waduh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. He can no longer even scream as the thing pushed him onto his back. With fear seizing his throat in an iron grip, Koji struggles desperately against the monster as it crawls up his body toward his face. Covering his face with his left hand, he scrabbles wildly along the floor, with his right searching for a way out that doesn't exist. His mind is that of a feral animal, empty of everything but primal terror. Ooh. And that is why, when his right hand closed around something hard at the last moment, he recognized it instinctively as a weapon. Putting every ounce of strength into his arm, Koji swing the heavy object at the creature on top of him. Anjay, digebok langsung. He heard the thud of a blunt object striking something soft and wet, and then Koji's attacker roll off him. As soon as he is able to move again, Koji leaped to his feet and grabbed his new weapon with both hands, brandishing it like a charm to ward off evil. Only now does he realize that he's holding a rusty steel pipe. The monster is still sobbing. With a cry, that is part of scream, part roar, Koji raises the steel pipe and brings it crashing down on the cowering creature. He hears a wet sound and feels the blood-chilling sensation of its stick. Ini kau udah pernah main, Cash? Soft flash absorbing the blow. This combined to evoke an instinctive loathing that whips his mind of all but the urge to destroy. Die! Die! Consumed by the same desperation with which he kept firing the empty gun, Koji rains blow after blow down on his enemy. Gak main tahu aja ceritanya. Oh, I see. And after 30th blow, it begins to feel and sound more and more like he's beating a puddle of viscous liquid. Koji doesn't stop trashing the creature until he recovers enough of his sense to realize that whatever it might have been before, it is now nothing but a corpse. Oh, mati dong temannya si ini, siapa namanya? Yo. The pipe in his hand, covered with unidentifiable fluids and filth, suddenly feel unbearable heavy. You still haven't seen the most damning part of all this. Ryuko's voice plays back in his head, and at last he knows how merciful her warning was. Now that his eyes are as open as hers, he is able to laugh in contempt of his own foolishness. 20 years of memories in the light of the sun, if they were indeed precious to him, then he should never have to come to this place. The black flame of despair rise within him, consuming fear and revulsion and pity. Only rage and hate remain. Every cell in his body cries out for vengeance, for the blood of the man who poisoned him with the truth and tore him from the womb of innocence. And then, Koji, slave to hate, hears the sound of someone sneaking up behind him. Koji whirls, swinging his pipe with all the force he can muster. His enemy hastily leaped back to avoid the strike. Surprised by his failure to catch Koji off guard, Twist's shadow danced in the beam of the light on the floor, readying his pipe for the next blow. Koji faces off against his second attacker, Sakisaka Fuminori. Before this moment, Koji could never have imagined that he would ever speak his friend's name with such hatred.
おいおい
Hey,
今の
hey,
一振り
that was a pretty heavy swing just now. You're trying to kill me or something? Even now, Fuminori is smiling as though the huge axe in his hand is just a sick joke,
まあいい
anjir.
かな
Sambil senyum kapak,
正
anjir.
直なとこお前はもう少し
Damn,
迷う
Koji, I
のかと
thought
思ったけど
you will hesitate.
迷うだと
You thought I will
俺
hesitate
が
against you?
貴様に
Koji sneers too, unable to contain his contempt for the notion.
貴様
How did you kill
近江を
Omi?
どうした
You piece of shit.
筑波に一体何をし
How
た
did you do to
そ
Tsukuba?
れを考えて
After
もまだ
all
俺が貴
this,
様を
you
殺すのに
expect me
迷
to
う
think
だと
twice about killing you.
そいつは言いがかりのつけ方が逆だろコージ
That's my line, Koji. Fuminori growls, looking sadly at the pile of dead flesh at Koji's feet.
コージの分際で僕の世をひどい目に遭わせやがって
How could you do such a horrible thing to
世の10倍は
Yo?
痛めつけて
I'll
から
make
殺
sure
して
you
やる
suffer before I kill you.
覚悟しろ
The blade of Fuminori's axe carved a murderous arc through the darkness, glittering menacingly in the faint light coming from the floor. Anjir, fighting song anjay. Gokil. Ting ting. Koji raises his pipe to block the ferocious swing. The heavy impact numb his arm, but his large frame take the blow without giving any ground. Fuminori pressed the attack, delivering a second blow and a third. His axe, designed for chopping down trees, is deadlier and more durable than piece of pipe Koji found discarded on the floor. Each strike Koji blocks send chunk of rust flying from his makeshift weapon. He can't win as long as he's on defensive. He needs to create an opportunity to attack. Bastard! Koji block a crushing downward swing, then push back hard before Fuminori can pull away, throwing him off balance. Fuminori stumbles backward, then plants his feet to steady himself. Taking advantage of his opponent's temporary immobility, Koji delivers a punishing low kick to Fuminori's other type. God. Fuminori grunts and retreats, swinging his axe wildly to prevent Koji from following up with another attack. Koji, however, does not press his advantage. He just stands where he is, calmly spearing Fuminori with his stare. You've never been in a fight, have you? Fuminori roars and comes in for another attack, but the damage to his right leg seems to be slowing his swing, easily blocking the axe with his pipe. Koji waits for Fuminori to exhaust himself. Die! Die! Fuminori delivers blow after heavy blow, howling savagely all the while. What he does not realize, however, is that the situation now favors composure, not brute force. When Fuminori raises his axe high for yet another attack, Koji sees that his movements have grown dull enough. Seizing the opportunity, Koji charges into Fuminori's range and grabs the half of the axe with his left hand. As Fuminori's recoil in fears, Koji swings his pipe hard at his enemy unprotected side. He feels the crunch of ribs breaking. Anjay, kena rusuk ya? Koh. The pain drives Fuminori to his knees, staring down at Fuminori's defenseless head. Koji, surprised by his own lack of emotion, raises his pipe high to deliver the finishing blow, which is when something wraps itself around his left ankle. What? The instant Koji panics at the unexpected sensation, something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg and drags him to the floor before he can resist. He twists his body and tries to swing the pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand too is seized by the same flexible force. He wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but now his blood turns to ice at the cold, slimy sensation of the thing wrapped around his uncovered wrist. The monster is still alive? That's it, Saya, Fuminori says encouragingly. Even while kneeling on the floor, his face twists in pain. He managed a terrible, victorious grin. Saya? This monster is Saya. Koji struggled desperately to free his limb from the creature's slimy grip, but more tentacles swarm over his body, sealing his freedom of movement. Tentacle gaze. The horror has already driven Koji half mad. Just imagining the creature's appearance is enough to send him into a mindless panic. His scream is suddenly cut off as a slimy appendage seizes his throat. His most deadly tentacles isn't just cutting off his windpipe, it's trying to snap his neck, and it's getting tighter. Koji is certain that this is the end, but just as his vision begins to dim, an explosion brings him back to his sense. Yeah, with horrifying inhuman scream, the creature releases Koji and retracts its tentacles. The first thing he sees after regaining his mobility is Ryoko running down the hall with a smoking shotgun in one hand and a silver tube in the other. Doctor, Ryoko responds by tossing him the tube. Though it's still lying on the floor, he managed to snatch it on the air. It's thermos she showed him at the restaurant. The one she called her secret weapon.
そいつの中身を奴にぶちまけろ。
Put it on that thing. Ryoko shot to Koji. At the same time, she aimed her gun at Fuminori, who's still on his knees, 5 paces away. Oh, 5 langkah. The double-barrel shotgun still has 1 shot loaded. The monster that attacked Koji is writhing in agony. He hasn't yet recovered from Ryoko's shot, but he's already seen the bullet aren't enough to kill this creature. Now is his only chance. What are you doing? Fuminori growls, gritting teeth against his pain. Sejak kapan orang bisa dapat shotgun dengan gampang di Jepang? Kan jalur gelap, Cash. Forcing himself to be calm, Koji stand and carefully unscrew the lid of the thermos. There is no question in his mind that something extremely potent is inside. As soon as it is unsealed, a thick white mist pours out of the thermos, and surrounding air turns freezing cold. Instantly, guessing what's inside, Koji lobs the thermos at the pile of flesh convulsing on the floor. The thermos sailed through the air, spewing white fog, like a baptismal font shower its liquid contents upon the hellish creature. Anjay, penggambarannya gitu ya? Yeah! It screamed. This time is incomparable to before. The monster crashes in agony, wreathed in white smoke. Its screams are joined by Ryoko's cackling.
どうよ、マイナス197度だよ。ねえ、冷たい、熱い、ざまあないわね。
Hahaha, that's minus 197 degree. Suara doang nih, gak ada gambarnya. Karena ini gak sih? Karena di Steam gak sih? Apa kalau nggak di Steam dia juga gini juga? You fucking monster. How's it feel? Cold? Hot? Not so tough now, are you? Perhaps the joy of vanquishing her nightmare was worth the last remnant of her sanity. The manic glee blazing in her eyes can belong only to a shattered mind. Monster, I'll kill you. Fuminori staggered to his feet, roaring black curses. His rage seemed to have drowned out the pain of his broken bones. Ryoko is not one to underestimate the threat posed by his axe. Her mad laughter fades away, leaving only a cold smile as she pulls the trigger. With a short burst of dark flame, Ryoko guns sputters and dies. Macet guys, double barrel ya. Ryoko is not an expert on firearms. It never occurred to her that shotgun shell need proper storage, and besides, she always expected that any situation where her gun would be necessary would also would-nya 2 kali jadi bingung. Also be one that she would not survive. Cursing in anger and dismay, Ryoko breaks the shotgun open and awkwardly pulls the dot out. Meanwhile, Fuminori stalked toward her like a vengeful demon, the head of his axe screeching as it drags along the floor. I have to stop him. Koji tries to charge Fuminori, but only succeeds at sending him sprawling. One of his shoes is stuck to the floor, frozen by liquid nitrogen. Oh, tadi dikasih cairan nitrogen. As Ryoko fumbles in her pocket for a new shell, Fuminori closes the distance and raises his axe in both hands. Damn! Koji curses and rips his shoe free of the frozen concrete, but he knows that he'll never make it in time. Ryoko thrusts a new shell into the chamber of her shotgun and snaps it close, then looks up to find her target. Fuminori is right before her, too close to evade. and his axe is already crashing down with the wind howling in its wake. Stop! The sound of bones shattering tendons. The sounds of bone shattering, tendons snapping, the flesh tearing blend together in full harmony. Putus tuh tangan tuh. The thick blade enters through Ryoko's left shoulder, plowing through her collarbone and shoulder blade, smashing several ribs, popping her lung like a balloon. What? Before stopping in the center of her chest. Anjir. Dari tangan kiri sampai ini, Cok, sampai ke paru-parunya di tengah. Berhenti di tengah. Her expression frozen in shock by the impact. She sprayed a geyser of blood from her mouth. She should have died instantly, but through some unimaginable force of will, Ryoko clings to life for a few seconds more. Langsung dar. Oh bukan, dari ini ya, pundak ya. Clean cut. Beyond the barrel of... No, dar. Oh, dia nembak si saya. Saya kan beku karena kena liquid nitrogennya. Pas ditembak jadi pecah. The frozen particle of Saya's shattered flesh drift to the floor like snow. Even the creature's special biology is insufficient to seal a wound of this size. From the opening pour its internal organ, a tide of liquid, slime, and fat, whose color is far too full to belong to any living creature. The monster convulsed, wailing in a weak, pitiful voice. Saya, with his axe still buried in Ryoko's body. Anjir, nggak ditarik dulu ya? Nggak ditarik. Fuminori stares at the dying creature, his expression utterly devoid of emotion. Koji grabs his pipe and prepared to attack Fuminori from behind, but freezes when he sees the emptiness on the face of the man he hates. Fuminori pulls his axe out of Ryoko's corpse, then look at Koji with glazed eyes. There's no recognition in them, nor hate, nor rage. When Koji meets Fuminori's blank stare, he knows there's nothing left in him to kill. Fuminori grips the axe closer to its head and raises it high, the blade toward his face. Koji doesn't know whether he should interfere, but even if he wanted to, what could he say to stop Fuminori? Fuminori pulled his head back slowly, then drive his face into the blade of the axe like a spring-loaded toy. Oh, suicide? Yeah, suicide there. Crunch. His skull caved in with a dull, wet sound, and a spray of blood catch Koji in the face. Despite Fuminori's usual lack of hesitation, his first attempt at suicide succeeds only in transforming his face into a hash of crimson. Fuminori pulled his head back one more time, even slower than before. Then, with every ounce of strength still left in his body, he slammed it into blood-stained axe. The sound is wetter than before. Fuminori's body goes limp, then tumbles face first to the floor. Koji stares at the two mangled corpses for a while. He feels completely left behind, like he can't remember why he's standing in this place with a steel pipe in his hand. Anjir. The stale air filling the ruined building becomes choked with the stench of blood, and the crimson puddles gradually spread across the snow-covered floor. Yet the tranquility of the scene makes it seem like a painting. A soft, slimy sound breaks the silence. Koji looks at the mortally wounded monster, The creature is on death's door, but even so, it moves slowly, feebly. It drags its broken body through the sea of blood. Ini kinetic novel atau ada branchnya? Ada branchnya, maksudnya? It's coming for Fuminori. Koji had forgotten his anger. Ada pilihan nggak? Ada. Koji had forgotten his anger, but now it comes surging back at full force. Die. He growls and stabs the monster with the end of his pipe. It convulses. Oh, okay. In agony, but keeps crawling toward Fuminori. Ini pencet-pencet terus. Tapi ada pilihannya dan cuman milih 2 kali doang. Jadi hitungannya kinetic atau branch? Pilihannya 2 terus 2 kali. Opsinya 2 terus pilihannya 2 doang terus 2 kali. But keep crawling toward Fuminori. Koji explodes into a frenzy of rage. Die, you monster! Just die already. He will truly have lost. Never succumb. It struggled to beneath his blow until finally it reached Fuminori corpse. Don't touch him. Don't touch him, damn you. What give you the right? Anjir, sampai banyak tuh. Branch juga sih, ini bukan ending real. Oh, iya kah? Koji keeps swinging, his fury unabated, even as tears start to pool in his eyes. The monster slime flies through the air, joining with the blood already covering his face. The creature extends wanton, trembling tentacles to touch Fuminori's shoulder, then lovingly caresses his blood-stained cheek. And then it stopped moving. Even in its final moment, the monster will not let Fuminori go. It joined with him. At last, Koji knows that the world he loved is gone forever. 3 ending, bad ending nih. Hah? Iya kah? Hey Omi, says enthusiastically, the exposed bone of her face clattering. Why don't we go somewhere we can skate for this year's ski trip? Chunks of her body are missing, as though something has been nibbling on her. It makes her look a lot thinner. She's been worried about her weight recently, but now she shouldn't need to diet. Fuminori laughed at Omi's crazy suggestion. That's right, you just started skating recently, didn't you? He sounds amused, but it's hard to tell from his expression since his face has been cleaved into by an axe. Not many people start skating in their 20s, you know. I was scared when I was little. Those shoes look like big knife. Yeah, I know. If someone kicked you in the face with one of those on, you'll probably end up like me. Omi and Yo laugh at Fuminori's dumb joke. Yo never used to laugh with such exuberance. She seems truly happy now that she and Fuminori are official together. But you were able to kill him on your first try. That's amazing, Omi. Huh? It's a lot like playing baseball. You swing hard and let the weight of the axe do the damage. He made killing him so easily.
そうしたらもう楽しく
Call Fuminori atau call Yoroko beda nih. Ya itu aku tahu. I figure I would give it a try, and it was fun. What is this feeling? Something is wrong. Though Koji can't push his finger on what.
うーん
Oh well, I want to try eating
私も見て
omi
みたい
too.
なオミちゃんが
Ah,
食べられる
that's
と
it.
ころ
When he sees Yo envious smile, Koji finally realizes what's bothering him.
なあつくば
Hey Tsukuba, what's
お
wrong?
前だけなんで
Why are you normal?
普通なんだ
Yo tilts her head quizzically like she doesn't understand what he means.
普通って
Normal? I'm always
でもお
normal.
前
But back then you were...
あ
Oh, I
あ
get
う
it.
んうん
You're nuts in
なん
understanding.
だ
You're
私
talking
が
about when I
王子
look
君と違う
different from
姿に
you.
なってた頃のこと
That was such a long time ago.
昔
It
そうだ
was,
よ
of course. She replies. Berarti yang good ending itu call Fuminori. Deflecting Koji's confusion with that uncannily cheerful smile.
だってコウジ君も
After all,
今じゃ
you're one
私
of
た
us
ちの
now.
仲間じゃない
Yang wanting all back, yang mana pilihnya? Udah dua-duanya aku pilih. After all, you are one of us now. Oh, of course. Koji looks down and is satisfied to see wriggling tentacles where his arm and leg should be. Kalau yang ini, yang pilihan Call Fuminori sama Call Ryoko itu, baru pilih Call Ryoko aku. Call Fuminorinya belum. When he opened his eyes, his mattress and pillows are soaked in sweat. It's always the same nightmare. He doesn't know how many times he's had it, but at least he's not leaping out of bed screaming anymore. He sits up, clutching his throbbing head. It's 4 in the morning. He hasn't had nearly enough rest, but he probably won't be able to get back to sleep tonight. Time for a smoke. A full pack will last him until dawn. Now, where did he put the pack he bought yesterday? Koji wanders sleepily into the den, where yet another old friend is waiting for
ひ
him.
どいありさまだね
You look like hell.
先生
Doctor, you're here
いた
too.
んですか
Ryoko's chopped up corpse is sitting at his dining table, looking as deadly pale as ever as she sips coffee from a mug.
毎晩ずいぶんと辛そうじゃないか
は
ろくに眠れてないんだろ
Dokternya bukan human juga. You can't be getting much sleep, tossing and turning like that every night.
そうでもないですよ
It's not always like
薬を
this.
飲めば
Koji
割と
says
なんとかなります
amicably as he sits down across from her. If I take some pills, it usually helps for now. Oh, halusinasi. Hallucination like this are easier to deal with than elaborate nightmare like the one he just had. They should probably worry him more
あの
though.
時私の忠告を聞き入れてれば
If
こ
you
こまで
had
追い詰めら
listened
れ
to
るこ
my
となんて
warning
なか
back
っただ
then,
ろうに
you wouldn't be in such bad shape now.
もうやめましょうよそれ
Let's
は
stop talking about that.
過ぎたことじゃないで
What's
す
done is done. Ah, Fuminori yang full ending. Oh, final ending. Oh. Ryoko chuckles, smiling the same cruel, manic smile that she used to when she was alive. Her left arm hangs from her half-severed shoulder, dangling like a forgotten wind shimp.
そう結構折
Sounds
り合い
like
をつ
you've
けてる
come
んだ
to terms with it.
先生だってそ
You're
うだ
the
ったん
same,
でしょ
weren't you? You
普段は
managed to
優
pass
秀な脳
yourself
外科医で通用
off
してたんだ
as an elite neurosurgeon most of the time.
上辺だけ取り繕うだけなら
It's not that
そんなに
hard
難しい
keeping up
ことじゃないか
appearance
らね
when you have to. Corpse struck her intact right shoulder and grimace in disgust as she takes another sip of her coffee.
でもね
But it's
多
only
分
going
こ
to
の
get
先はもっ
worse,
と
you know.
心の傷は時間
Time
が癒や
heals してくれるけど
emotional
wound, but with
君
you,
はまあ
it's more like
言
you've
ってみ
been
れば
poisoned.
毒に感染
She's
した
probably
ような
right.
ものだから
Everyone dreams at night. No matter how dim the memories may get, the nightmare will always be there to tear into Koji with fresh fangs. The insanity that has taken root root in his heart will grow, eventually consuming everything that's left inside of him.
俺の場合先生っていう
In my
前例を見て
case,
学んでますか
I've
ら
had
ね
you to learn from.
他りはあり
I'm
ません
ready for anything. Is that
そう
so?
なの。
Koji nods, smiling confidently, then stand and walk to the bathroom, where he retrieved the weapon that he kept hidden behind mirror. Ogai's revolver, the one souvenir that Koji brought back from the other world that night.
ものすごい苦労したんですけど結局
It was
よ
tough,
うやくその
but I
筋の
finally
人と
someone
渡り
who
をつけま
deals
した
in this
弾
thing.
も買ってあります
But bullets for it,
Todoroki
can you
mashita
believe
yo.
the ammunition is
Jiu
more
sonomono yori
expensive
takai
than the
nanda.
gun
お
itself?
やおや。
How about that? In the mirror, oh, the mau suicide ka? Koji sees Ryoko with her axe inflict gas reverse. She raised her mug in a toast to Koji's resourcefulness.
で、何発買ったわけ？
So many shots did you buy?
一発だけで
Just
す
one. This time, it's Koji who struck his shoulder. He used both, exercising his privilege as the survivor.
それ以上必要になるような状況は
I never want to be
俺は
in a
願い下げなんだ。
situation where I'll need more.
ふん。
Oh, the corpse in the mirrors nods sagely, her smile approving.
ほんと。
You really
わ
do
きまえ
get
て
it.
るんだね、殿くん。
There is a brief silence. Jadi kayak Silent Hill. Fuminori ya, berarti masih final ending berarti lebih panjang lagi ya. Berarti besok kali ya. Maksudnya nanti. There is a brief silence. Koji doesn't really feel like getting all melancholy with a dead woman.
ねえ先生
Hey doctor, let's give a
いい加減ファミレス
dinner,
のコー
coffee
ヒー
or
は
a
やめま
rest.
しょうよ
If you want,
な
I'll
んなら
put
新しいの
on
入れますから
a new pot of. When Koji turns around halfway through his sentence, he realized the room is empty but for the silence of the night. And so, Koji returns to the world of the sane. Sasending. Yang mana Sasending? He lights his first cigarettes of the night and takes a deep drag. While sitting alone in his den, puffing on his smoke, he stares at the gun in his hand. He knows just how precarious a cliff he's standing on, the final line of which Ryoko spoke is now one step behind him. Koji no longer has anything to protect his soul. Now that Ogai Masahiko's fantasies and Tanbo Ryoko's delusions have all become tangible horror, he knows that insanity and despair truly are. Back in the real world, Sakisaka Fuminori is wanted to several gruesome murders. It didn't take long for someone to discover the stockpiles of human meat in the empty Sakisaka and Suzumi home. In the two refrigerators were found the remains of Suzumi Yosuke, his wife, blah 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 blah. They found the clothes and other effects of Tsukubayo, but were unable to locate any trace of her among the various body parts. Fuminori Sas ending. Berarti besok perlu ku sensor lagi dong. Soalnya kemarin kaget. Kok tiba-tiba ada sesuatu, ada boing-boingan. Delusion, waktunya main Chaos Head. Pengen sih, ntar. Next sale, baru ku beli. A fact that made Koji's nightmare all the more vivid. Dr. Tanbo Ryoko of the T University Hospital vanished mysteriously around the same time because he was a Fuminori's chief physician. The police have been investigating her connection to his crime. As for the two corpses secretly buried in the backyard of a certain ruin, well, they'll probably never be found. And this incident will become just another cold case. Koji alone knows what really happened, and he has no intention of revealing it. Not now, and not ever. Ogai's writing were not nonsense, which means that everything else was. What fool was it who said that men are the lord of creation? Those who can believe in paltry things like human wisdom and valor are those lucky innocents who have not looked into the abyss. Koji can no longer share in their blessed ignorance. He knows he has been defiled by the insanity called truth. He will never believe again. If he has been poisoned, as Ryoko's ghost said, then that poison is none other than the truth itself. Just as pure oxygen is harmful to the body, the naked truth has the power to destroy man's mind. Only by diluting it with lies and taking it in small doses can human maintain a healthy soul,
どんなに世界が
no
底
matter
抜けに
what
めちゃくちゃ
horror
に
the
な
world
ってい
might
ても
hold. Words once spoken by the living Tanbo Ryoko passed through Koji's
悲
mind.
鳴を上げて逃げ回る以外
I still had some power against the madness. That, without a doubt, was comfort that she kept hidden in her bosom, the only thing that allowed her to face her dream each night. Koji has taken his predecessor lesson to heart. He prepared for anything. One bullet is always behind the bathroom mirror, promising him salvation. Habis. Ending 3 ya ini berarti ya? What sasnya udah termasuk di game ya? Kirain butuh patch. I don't know, itu kemarin tiba-tiba ada boing-boing aja. Bener-bener kayak di manga itulah. Wah. Kemarin kita udah dapat ending. Kalau yang ending pertama itu lebih ke normal gak sih? Normal ending. Jadi kita balik ke normal, si sayanya tapi masih emang udah punya perasaan sama kita. Terus ini apa namanya? Tapi nggak bersatu kan karena si sayanya udah dilihat sama si tokoh utama siapa namanya? Fuminori itu sebagai slime. Mau nggak mau mereka communicationnya pakai HP kan kalau ending yang pertama. Kalau ending yang kedua ini ya nyisa satu orang. Kok tahu sih langsung gedein flamingonya? Padahal pengen lihat sasnya. Yang kemarin itu live streamnya. Kalau tadi nih gini Cash. Kemarin aku udah main 3 jam. Jadi kan abis dapat satu ending pertama, aku main lagi. Nah itu berarti kan save baru kan. Maksudnya cabang baru kan. Dari cabang baru itu aku belum save. Mainnya 3 jam. Kagak. Pas aku bilang kan, jangan lupa save dulu. Aku pencet S. Kok kebukanya kayak ini kan, folder-folder file. Oh, mungkin kayak biasa. Aku pencet load dong. Pengen pencet save. Kepencetnya load. Anjir, 3 jamku tuh kebuang sia-sia, Cash. Anjir kan. Makanya tadi di awal kan aku main dari ulang. Harusnya dari cabangnya ulang lagi. Cuman langsung spam klik aja. Terus udah aku cut sih yang kelihatan dikit. Yang kemarin. Nih si kucing biru lihat nih. Kemarin full flamingo. Ya wes lah, kita lanjutinnya nanti aja ini ending satunya. Kita lanjut nobar ya lihat. Di server Discordku. Unlist dong mau. Unlist. Unlist apaan? Judul game. Atau maksudmu di unlist ininya? Videonya? Si kocak. Unlist yang ses jadi bisa nonton. Si kocak. Cuman ini doang. Cuman satu scene doang gitu. 2 sih. So ya ending kedua dibilang bad, iya sih termasuk bad ending sih sebenarnya sih. Tapi si Bro WP bilang gak ada bad ending good ending. Tapi tetap Cash, aku lebih suka yang ini, VN kemarin, yang apa namanya, yang You and Me and Her. Udah the best itu, the best visual novel so far yang aku mainin. Karena aku main visual novel tuh masih dikit banget. Makanya kan, kamu suhuku. Kamu gila bang. Hah? Kenapa gila? Kamu suhuku, visual novel. Aku juga gila. Tapi You and Me and Her the best itu. Seru banget. You and Me and Her. Waktu itu main sampai 20 jam cuy di live stream. Ditemenin sama Bro Wipiu. Kita sama-sama cari rutenya. Waduh, itu seru banget tuh waktu itu live streamnya. Kayak ngegacha gitu cuy, buat dapetin rutenya. Gokil dah. Yang mulai di DLC itu You and Me and Her emang. Iya. Makanya aku bilang kan itu moyangnya fenomenal di zamannya. Tapi sayang banget ya You and Me and Her ya. Apa di DLC. Padahal dia kan bikin di DLC Plus. Tapi nggak dibikin dubnya. Sayang banget. Padahal kalau dia masukin dub di paket di DLC Plus, makin membludak lagi selnya itu. Opus aja free dubnya. Opus yang Echoes of Star Song. Makanya ini aku mikir bingung. Aku stream lagi gak ya Echoes of Star Song? Soalnya jadi ada dubnya kan, dan itu free. Katanya sih bagus ya dubnya. Penasaran aja. Terus dia udah keluarin teaser game barunya, Cash. Kau udah lihat belum? Opus apa gitu aku lupa. Dubbing. Suara. Dubbing voice. Dub. DUB. Oh, dub. Yoi. Dubbing. Sayang banget di DLC. Padahal kalau ada dubbing makin mantep. Walaupun aku lebih suka ini ya, lebih suka siapa namanya, You and Me and Her. Tapi kalau ada dubbingnya, udah mantep tuh di DLC. Project Libitina. Apa tuh? Aku lupa nama opusnya apa. Sabar. Coba aku cek deh. Prism Peak. Opus Prism Peak. Kayaknya bagus. Soalnya yang Echoes of Star Song mantep sih. Itu yang project baru di DLC kan. Oh, I see. Nanti coba aku cek. Project Libitina ya. Nanti aku coba cari. Aku nggak tahu. Thank you infonya. Project Lib itu beneran POJ atau project? Tipe kan itu kan? Pro kan? Project kan? Gak ada info baru sih. Oke. Sudah jam 3 cuy. Nanti kau diomelin sama Granny Hana. Sudah jam 3 gue masih tidur guys. Bukannya lagi minggu sibuk ya? Kan tinggal seminggu lagi. Mantap. Kan tinggal seminggu lagi. Bukannya minggu sibuk, udah jam 3 ya. Oke, kita bakal sebut nama. Tidurlah. Ada kasur, ada kucing biru, ada Bro Wipiu, ada Kermi, ada Vigo. Kan tidur dulu tadi. Oh, udah tidur. Oke. Terus tadi ada Demon Inside Me, ada Takoya, ada Brexka, ada Fun, dan nggak tahu lagi aku namanya siapa lagi tadi. Kucing biru, yoi, fans nomor 1. Kau tahu dari mana, Cash? Fans nomor 1. Kau tahu dari mana? So ya, thank you banget yang udah mampir dan menemani live stream kali ini. Feeling aja, hehe. Thank you banget yang udah mampir kali ini dan menemani live stream kali ini. Nanti bakal aku lanjutin sih yang, tapi kalau berdasarkan leak dari si Kasher, kayaknya mungkin besok mungkin bisa jadi full sensor dengan flamingo. Kita lihat aja ya nanti ya. Kemungkinan besar bakal full sensor flamingo. So yeah, see you guys in the next stream. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Nggak seru. Jangan cok. Bahaya itu channelku. Bye 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 bye.